Well, hello, and welcome to all the viewers. Welcome back to the channel. If you are a subscriber here, if you're new and you're happening across the Axpona coverage, thank you for being here and watching. Today, I am hosting a number of friends and brand reps, and I say everybody's my friend now. But I've got some guests that will be coming on from various sorts of areas, either vendor, influencer, brand, manufacturer, marketing, all that kind of stuff, to talk about Axpona experience. Which way is the camera? Okay, to my left, which is on camera, the guys from Radiant Acoustics are here, and we have Rich Zidel from Zidel Marketing. So, guys from Radiant, please take the center stage, given that it is what time in Denmark right now.
Yeah, it's roughly past 10 p.m. here in Denmark, so we are sitting here in our little listening room at the office on a Saturday.
And I really appreciate you guys giving your time to do this for us. So please introductions and walk through your show experience, the room, if you wish. Yeah.
My name is Fredrik. I'm kind of the guy who does some business and e-commerce development, I guess. I'm also one who goes to shows to present the brands and the products. So that's a very short summary of what I do, and then we have.
So I'm also Fredrik, confusingly enough. I'm product manager, so I do a lot. I do product development, manuals, quick start guides, press, shows, and some other uninteresting stuff. And we work for a company called Nordic Hi-Fi, and Nordic Hi-Fi has 5 brands. So we have Radiant Acoustics, of course, and we have Argon Audio, which is record players, active speakers, lifestyle things, and we have Vestlid, which is power monitors to play loud, kind of like what Server Vega was in the old days. And we have 2 accessory brands, Noon and Essentials.
Yeah,
but we're here to talk about Radiant, of course.
Yeah. Worth mentioning maybe is that we're a very small team. So, and we're a very flat organization. So what we do is kind of a little bit of everything. We don't really have these super rigid structures. So we get to do different things. We help each other out, and that's very fun.
Yeah.
We went to the US for the first time for any of our brands for this Axpona this year, and it was a little bit of an experiment on several parameters, which was first and foremost, we want to build our brand in the US market, just expose ourselves, build ourselves up, show that we exist. We're people behind the brand. We're not just some entity out in the void of the internet. We are real people. Second reason was that not only show ourselves, but in conjunction with that, we wanted to give all of the visitors a chance to listen to our speakers for the first time as well, without having to actually buy the speakers and set them up in their home. If someone's on the fence and maybe hesitating whether this is something they would like to try out, then they could go to the show and have a little sneak peek on what our speakers can do.
Yeah, and we are a direct-to-consumer brand, and we have had pretty good success in the US without doing any effort for it. So wanted to also give back and also just see what is Axpona. Like, we haven't been there, we only heard about it, and I have to say we were very positively surprised by both how good the show is, but also how much brand recognition we had in the US. We did not expect that at all.
Yeah, we so many times during this weekend we just overheard people saying, "Oh, that's the Radiant room. We have to go in," and stuff similar to that we absolutely had no idea that people were that aware of us. since we have not really marked our ground anywhere in the US before. So that was quite interesting. And the feedback in general with the actual sound performance and inside of the room was very, very well received. Much more than what I think we could have hoped for.
Yeah. So we showed the brand new speaker, the brand new floor standing speaker called Clarity 66. $10,000. That is shipping and tax included.
And customs.
So hit the buy button. But yeah, it's great success.
Is that in US dollars?
That's in US dollars, yeah.
Yeah, we had just before we went on live, I had asked a question about the site and a couple of things with browsing and information. Where being in Canada, we have a metric is the normal, where imperial is usually in the US, and I kind of go back and forth, and some of the web pages will actually update and they're published with both measurements for people, but then also pricing will reflect where you're browsing from. So I think for my region, it defaults to the US, and we just had mention of that before we went on live.
Yeah, we use a platform called Shopify, which I think is like very huge. Many people uses it, but
we use it as well.
Yeah, worldwide thing, super nice.
Yeah, it's great for tracking stats and just keeping analytics where we want it, so that we can get a good overview of what's happening, where traffic comes from, and what parameters drive traffic, and where, like, from which sources and all that stuff.
Also a very customer friendly platform.
Yeah, seems like it. So this was reflected in USD for anybody watching.
Yes.
If you're from Europe, it's 8,000 euros.
Okay, nice round numbers for the pocketbook.
Probably 7,998.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Another reason why we wanted to go to the US is for the kind of the press and making connections with reviewers and outlets and all that.
Meet guys like you.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely on the curve for Radiant and Purify in general as a brand. I guess we can get into that a bit later. For a long time, and I've had the Clarity 6.2s at home for a while, for more than a year, and I've always been raving about them, talk about how they sound. I've put them into videos, and a number of the other sort of YouTube creators have also gotten their hands on them, measurement wise, review wise, all that kind of thing. So they've done their part, I've done my part, and it's kind of no surprise for me, because I enjoy them so much, why they receive such notoriety, or at least awareness, when you were showing at Axpona. By that time, most of us have been on board for about a year. So it's really cool that now that the newest model is out, that you brought them for people to actually hear them in room. I'm going to pause for a second. I am going to bring on my buddy Nick, who just popped in, and we'll add him to the stage here. Yeah, so Nick is a loudspeaker manufacturer from the US, brought a pair of speakers to the show as well, just for you guys, if you're not familiar with who Nick is. Just want to bring him on. Welcome. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How is my volume? Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you a little bit low, but I can hear you.
Let me switch to a different set of headphones. Give me 1 second, okay? Hold on.
No issues. Okay. So the Clarity 6.2s, I mean, the videos that I captured of our after hours sound demos, those are already posted with some mixed reviews. Some are very positive. Some are, what is this chainsaw sound that has happened?
That I will comment. That was after Axpona closing, and we did whatever we wanted to do.
Yes, I had to mention that as well. That Axpona is a 3-day event, essentially Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a shorter day. So at the last 15 minutes of the last day, I went to the room and then we started doing like an all request sort of timeline. So that's when those songs were played. It wasn't during show hours. I'm at least a little bit considerate because I know that it's not everybody's favorite sound, but at the same time, it's such a demanding kind of music and genre that I like to use it when I can and where it can be played, just to see how it translates across different systems, different rooms, things like that. So I do appreciate you guys for indulging that moment. So
it was fun. It was really fun.
Absolutely.
Joe, how's my volume
got to play a
now?
little bit louder than we used to. So.
Much better.
Yep. So Rich, if you'd like to introduce yourself and walk through a bit of what your role there, what at Axpona was, just to level the playing field here.
Sure. Hi, folks. My name is Rich Zidel. I own and operate Zidel Marketing. I essentially am a brand representative. I do all of the MoFi distribution brands for the entire country of Canada. And I also do Hagel for the eastern half of Canada. To give you an idea of the brands, Dr. Fikert Analog, Finite Elemente, Isotech, Leak, Little Fwend, MoFi Electronics, Music Hall, My Sonic Lab, Piega, Quad, Hi-Fi Rose, Schick, Solid Steel, Torrens, and Wharfdale. I think that's all of them. Quite a few. At this show, I was Mr. Quad. So I was in room 334 singing and dancing. And in the middle of that, I was playing music on our brand new Platina integrated amp, brand new Platina streamer, and the fabulous Quad Electrostatic 2912X speakers.
And they were great.
They were lots of fun. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Can I just do a shout out to my little friend and Lasse?
Absolutely.
My boy.
There's lots of fun. Very entertaining guy.
Yeah.
So, we had a fantastic time. Turnout was absolutely, that's my site.
Yep.
The turnout was absolutely amazing. As is always the case, I found out someone made a mistake and forgot to list us. So we 334, the room with the quad electrostats, apparently wasn't listed. That didn't seem to stop anyone from finding us. We were jam-packed all day Friday and Saturday. Sunday was quieter than I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. There, people came and went, but it wasn't the nonstop show from Friday, Saturday. And Acoustics gave us best in show. So that was a proud moment.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let me see if I can grab that post that went up. That was actually pretty cool. Here we go. So this is some of the photos from the room, and this is the post that went up just recently. So people have an idea what was in room. Quads. These were so impressive, and it's unique because I got to hear them in Montreal as well as Axpona, sort of show for show. And there's a lot of characteristics in the towers that this panels, I guess towers, is that right? Are there towers, or would you say panels?
I would typically call it a panel. It's an electrostatic panel,
right.
But I mean, it's a big tower. It's okay to call it. Typically a tower is slimmer.
Yeah. So here's part of that shot, best of show. This is Instagram's horrible way of cropping out images the wrong way, but you get the idea. We have another.
So you were our neighbor actually, and you had a very nice room.
Yeah, that was. You guys were across the hall.
Close to each other?
Yeah, we were 334. So
no, I was 334.
We were 340.
340. We were 340. But there was no live rooms between us.
So we were very, very close. Well, next year I will make it a point to come and say hello.
Super.
I did not get to see the show. I never do. I typically go up there, set up, do the whole thing, and sometimes I'll run out the door and run to do something. My brother works for Dally. So I ran downstairs to the Lenbrook room to say hello to my brother. So I took a minute to do that. I took a minute to run and say hi to Andrew Jones because he was showing his new Jones and Soretta. And I took a minute to say hi to Hagel folks. And that was it. Otherwise, I was, as I tell people, I was just locked in my cage doing my thing.
So your brother is Jason?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we ate dinner with him Thursday or Friday. One of those days.
One of those days.
Yeah.
He travels to Denmark on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
We invited
the
the
original.
doggy guys out.
I'm the original. I came first. He came second. Actually,
Yeah.
funny story is, he started in the audio business. I was running a store part-time called the Sound Studio while I was going to school, and they didn't want to open for Christmas. I said, guys, this is where you can make a lot of money. I will open the store. So I opened the store and I was overwhelmed. There was too much going on. So I called Jason and I said, come work with me. That is how he started in audio.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
So
let me interject.
just
Let me interject here for a little bit. I have another guest who is a housemate of mine at the Airbnb that I stayed at, who can also speak to the show experience as well as some of the ins and outs of getting to the show, from the show, the headphone sort of area. My friend Yari is here.
Hi, Yari.
I see that you're mute. There we go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I always stay muted because my dog likes to start barking.
Oh, okay.
Random.
Fair enough. That's cool. That's cool. So welcome. Yeah, we're just kind of rolling along here, telling stories and getting acquainted with those who have joined. Let me give Nick a spotlight here. Nick also you have the story, so I'm going to let you tell the story however you wish.
Okay.
This is Nick's brand here, but take the floor for a minute.
First,
let us know what's going on.
Let me ask Rich a question. So, Rich, it was my first time at Axpona, so yep. I didn't actually stay on Sunday. I actually traveled home. But I
wish I had done that.
Well, so this is my question: do you think that Sunday would be better served as like an industry day where everyone just gets to go, or all the people that are industry get to go around and see everyone's rooms, and then everyone can pack up and go home instead of, staying till 8 o'clock on Sunday night?
I don't know you, but boy, let me tell you, now I really like you.
Cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot more sense. And I think that if you can't, as a guest, if you can't see the show in 2 days, then what are you doing? I'm not quite sure who the Sunday is for. So I'm with you.
There's so much to unpack in that. Well, look at the camera. So much to unpack in that statement. I hear a lot of people say 3 days is not enough time for them to just attend and see everything. That's because they don't want to just attend and see everything. They want to live in a few rooms for hours at a time. If you don't do that, I'm with you. I think 2 days is plenty for someone to walk around and see and hear stuff. I also love to remind people, this isn't your personal audition. This is your introduction to our brand or our products. And we encourage you to hang out here and listen as much as you want, but serious listing and evaluating should be done at your dealer. So 2 days should be enough to do all of that. And then my frustration with Sunday is, obviously nobody shows up first thing in the morning because they sleep in. It's Sunday. And then no one wants to be there late in the afternoon because it's Sunday. So we basically tend to see people from about 11 till 1 or 2 o'clock, which makes it a total waste of time for an exhibitor to be there.
It makes it too expensive is what it is.
Makes it incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Not to mention, so now I have to wait until, I think we shut down at 4. So now I have to wait until 4 o'clock to start doing tear down and packing up. What for? In the last 2 hours of that show, how many people do we see? A handful. And
sure.
Of course, yes, at 2 minutes to 4 o'clock, your room is always full because a bunch of people run in waiting till the last minute. but that does not make it worthwhile to be there all day. Sunday is an incredibly quiet day. I think that is a genius idea. Make Sunday industry day and make it industry day from 10 to 1.
That was exactly my thought. And then people can be on their way at that point. And, you know, but okay, I'm not going to be the one to tell Mark to do that. So I'm going to, no.
I put it in the survey. I got the survey, you know, you attended Axpona, you exhibited at Axpona. What do you think? Click, 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 and then comment. Yes, I have comments for you.
Okay.
I have a suggestion on how we can do it more exciting next year.
Go for it.
So, like for Rich and us, maybe we just swap rooms for
that would be fun.
And we'll demo your stuff and you'll demo our stuff.
Okay, we're doing that.
That's funny.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Let me see.
You know, and it's so, first of all, interesting. More importantly, it's so nice of you to say that, just because I bump into some consumers who they just think we all hate each other's guts, you know, and we're at war. And I said, you know what I did this morning? I set up a competitor's turntable because he didn't know how to do it. He wasn't their turntable guy. I set it up for him. And then I fixed a speaker for a competitor because we don't have to hate each other.
Well, I would say, yeah, that's the exact opposite of the attitude I got there. I mean, everyone, so me being a very, very small new person, everyone was very nice and offered me advice that they did not have to offer me, both from like a company standpoint and a technical standpoint. And like, there were only a handful of companies that were kind of like standoffish, and those people were the ones that I would expected to have been standoffish, and they aren't like really leading anything in terms of like you know, sound or technology in any kind of field. So the people who like are the leaders were very open and very nice, and everyone was like really engaging and offered that. So yeah, it was my first time, but like I even got the guy on the couch with the blonde hair from Radiant. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. Yes, he
the irony is they both have the same name.
Oh shit. Okay, well, he stepped outside with me for like, you know, 5-10 minutes and really went into depth about about the new speaker, gave me a whole bunch of technical explanation. So like, yeah, what a great environment to be in, you know, first as a first timer, and hopefully it's like that again when I come back with a room next time. So
yeah, I mean, I gotta say on top of that, that's why all of you guys are here, because you're such great people. You're all friendly. You're all outgoing. You're welcoming. You share a lot of details. You don't have any of that gate that may be recognizable in others. So that's why you are all here in this list. Also because you showed up, you asked, you're available. So that's another reason. So thank you again to everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be cutting CNC panels, Joe, but instead I'm here with you. So
yeah, amazing work, and all like done by hand in the shop. So I mean, just this is the chance for all of, I mean, myself, just to reiterate to anybody who missed it, like this is the stuff that's on hand and what you guys are trying to show off. So I just wanted to give everybody a second look at
I'd like to listen to those.
All you have to
chance real
all
soon.
all you have to do is ask. By all means, send me an email, and
I'll find you at the show next year. I'm not gonna
okay.
Make you send me anything.
Well, I'm gonna send some to
go back to that. I really like the contrasting. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I love the contrast.
The inlays.
Yeah. Like the lighter wood on the corners. That's really cool.
So I had those actually down in the marketplace at Axpona, Rich. So a couple people got to see them, and then I got to demo them for Carl from Sayas. So Carl's the one who obviously makes my drivers, or their company makes the drivers, and so he got to hear them, and that went pretty well. So I think I'm in a good spot, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, this stuff it's
lovely.
amazing woodwork.
It's beautiful wood too.
Yeah.
I love the
Definitely.
rounded corner. I love anytime you give me a wood speaker that's got contrasting tones in it. I think that is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So the
so
one
much
you're
attitude in it. That's what
See, this
I'm
is boring.
drawn to.
This I'm not. I don't mean I don't like it. I just mean I'm not as much a fan at the other one where the corners were much lighter.
Mm.
That was just gorgeous. Wow.
Rich-
so like in
Rich,
these.
it's funny that you
There you
say
go.
that. It's funny you bring this up because I think that people have a very split opinion about this. So I recently did this series, right, where I made all three of the different cabinets all the same with that pattern that you're talking about with the light in the front there. And I have had a bunch of people react like you who are like, this is my favorite way to do it. You should do all of them like this. And then I've had other people be like, I don't like this and I want to have a very uniform looking cabinet. So
Oh yeah, you'll
it's-
never please everybody.
I
You'll
know.
always- it's always
right.
polarizing. And dealers will be the same.
Mhm.
And that it makes me laugh all the time. I won't name names, right? But the manufacturer once asked me, what does your dealer say they want? I said, it's irrelevant. They want what they don't have. And then the minute you give it to them, they don't want it anymore because they have it.
Sure.
Now
They
want,
want-
now they
this is
want
the truth.
now they want something else. And so what I do now when dealers, ask me for that, you should blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. What will your opening order be?
Right. You can define, right. Yeah.
If there's no opening order attached to you should do this, or I want you to do this, then, and I say it very politely, I'm not a jerk like I'm sounding like now, but and I will try to say, you're asking us to build stuff. I don't know if that's just because you think it'd be cool or because you personally like it, or you've had people tell you, but if the grand sum total of people who told you that they wanted this was your friend Audio Boy 145, that's not going to make us any money. And at the end of the day, to be able to afford to come to this show and entertain you for 3 days, we need to make some money. So I need to know if we're going to build this, it's got to sell. And if it's not going to, we can't do it. And we've made that mistake. People said, do this, do this, do this. And we did it. And it sat there. There's a particular, no, I won't even say what it is because I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, don't do that.
There's
We like trouble.
Listen, I'm about to start a podcast with my friend Lenny. It's called Troublemaker Audio.
Okay, invite us.
I will, and Joe as well, because I'm a troublemaker. I speak my mind. I try to do it politely, and because I know who I am, I'll preface it sometimes with saying, if I sound like a jerk or an asshole, I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to offer up an honest opinion, and I describe myself as brutally honest. But that's a problem with Fit and Fin. Whatever you do, if people say, "Oh, that gloss black, people don't want that. You should do satin black." Okay, then we launch satin black, and they don't order it. You told me that's what you wanted. What does that mean? So you're going to have a crazy challenge, Nick, to deal with that stuff. And you know what? You just follow your gut.
I'm trying, and I actually think I have a way to kind of essentially like offer it as like an add-on package where there's basically a standard uniform look just like everyone else has, and then if they want something else, it's kind of 1, 2, 3 tiers based on moving up in price. So I'm going to handle it that way so that I can make sure that every time I do something custom, like you said, it's exactly for the person who's paying for it. So that's what I'm going to probably go for.
And then be careful with custom if you can't do it quickly. I'll tell you why. I won't mention the brand. We have a particular brand where you can customize. But we tell the dealer, you need to inform your customer a custom product is going to take a bare minimum of 4 to 6 months.
So here, Rich,
not-
what I'm working on right now is literally getting everything over into CNC files so that this is not an issue for me, because I'm expecting some kind of increase in sales hopefully this year, and so I'm ready to roll with all that when it comes. So yeah, none of it's going to take, it'll take a little bit extra time, but we're talking assembly time, not like anything design or anything crazy like that.
Just if it's anything extra time, all I'm trying to say is warn. I mean, you sell direct, right? You don't go through dealers
Currently.
So you just warn that customer in writing when you make that sale. Just this is going to might take an extra 2 to 4 weeks, whatever. Just put it there. My experience has been, we tell people, yes, we'll do this for you, 4 to 6 months, and they go, oh, fantastic, okay. And then 2 weeks later, they start calling every day. When?
Yeah.
When? And then after 2 months, they cancel.
Oh, wow. See, I haven't had that happen to me yet, but that's scary. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Just, you're obviously a nice guy. I think everyone here, I think we're all nice people. And this is what happens. So we assume we're dealing with nice people and they're going to be cool with us. Well, some are not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Some are not. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying is, just put it out there. This might, normally we deliver in 2 to 4 weeks. This might take 4 to 6, just so, whatever that thing is, just to set them up. If you set them up for that, it's so much easier to be able to say, I know you're anxious. I told you 4 to 6 weeks. We're 3 weeks in. We're not even at the bare minimum weight I told you we were going to have. And it just sort of helps set an expectation, because otherwise people tend to be unrealistic.
Got it. Well, it'll get added to the contract today. So thank you.
Look, you don't have to do it. I'm just saying.
No,
suggest it.
It's wise.
It protects.
If I can bring something up, just kind of on that like learning point. I don't know if he's coming on or not, but Mads from Bucart, I got to speak with Joe and him for a little while, and I learned something from him that was like unbelievable, that I didn't even think I would learn. So not even anything about speakers, but it was about the way he insured his speakers. So for example, what we're talking about losing money, but one of the ways that he doesn't lose money is in shipping. So apparently if any Bucart speakers get damaged in shipping, there's an entire like private insurance thing that takes care of that. And I had a situation recently where I did have a set of speakers get damaged in shipping. And so I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is brilliant. I didn't even know like you could do that. So yeah, I'm learning, like Rich, I just learned this from you. Good idea on the contract. And then, something as simple as insuring my product. Like I learned that this weekend from him. What an awesome thing to learn. So yeah, I'm taking all of it in, and most of it does go in, and I just have to figure out, okay, how does it work for me?
The brilliant part of going to a show is to be able to speak to people about these kinds of things, where you're not going to get it in a lot of other avenues, a lot of other spaces. To show up and speak to people across all the brands, you get all the details straight from the source, rather than through removed review or online creator or some kind of a post. And it's between all the lines that you're finding out this stuff. So yeah, brilliant point to bring up.
And shout out to Bucart Audio, though.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if
Purify and Real Audio.
I was looking to see if he was online. I could invite him.
Yeah, their factory is located 40 minutes from where we sit. And if the rumors are true, they do the measuring just over the street here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are all like a big family there, though. I mean, like we were looking at this map before, and where everybody's located, it's all, I mean, it's a relatively, let's put it on the global scale. You're this far away. I mean, Nick is this far away.
Yeah, I'm really far away, but
So this sorry for the movement here, but to have so many brands, so many influences, and so many different kinds of things coming from this area, it's really remarkable that, you know, you guys are basically all neighbors. There's so much going on in one neighborhood or in a number of neighborhoods here.
To put it in perspective on Denmark, if you go to the northernmost point and you drive to Germany, it's about 4 hours.
I drive more than that on a weekly basis sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
And you would cross this whole country.
Yeah.
Gentlemen from Radiant, do you guys know of a guy named Oscar Roding? He makes a tweeter called a Hickaphone tweeter.
No.
Interesting. Okay, so he is from Denmark, and he makes my tweeters.
Okay.
And supposedly he used to be a ScanSpeak guy, and he left many, many years ago to start his own tweeter company. But I was just curious if you had heard of him or not. So
No. What's
okay.
his company called?
Hicquaphone, Hiquphon.
No.
No, never
But
heard.
they're like, Denmark is the country with the most speaker manufacturers per capita. So there's a lot of them here.
Oh, okay.
Lots and lots of really clever and innovative things coming out of the area. Speaking of tweeters.
And you know what's interesting is everyone speakers still sounds a little bit different, right? So, you know, there's 10 companies that all use some version of a purified driver, and none of them sound the same, which is why that you build speakers, right?
That's the
Our AMT tweeter is actually made by Dali.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Speaking of neighbors, you know, like
we have the same owner.
Essentially, yes. Right. So
is that Lingdorf?
Yeah, Peter Lingdorf owns us and Dali and Lingdorf Audio, of course, and he's a co-founder of Purify.
Okay. And what is his original background? Is it in engineering or is it in like studio production?
No, very short story. He was just a music guy, and then he started this retail chain called Hi-Fi Klubben. And in the basement of Hi-Fi Klubben, he started Dali, which of course grew out of Hi-Fi Klubben. Hi-Fi Klubben still sells it, but now it's two separate companies. And then he started Lingdorf Audio with their things. And then, like, we are kind of the new Dali. We're the basement company right now. The little brother of them all.
Yeah, if you want more information about their designs, their collabs, their ideas, there's a video there where Lars and Peter are talking through the whole thing. So that's available for everybody from the website.
Oh, cool.
The 6.2 you see in the picture, the first prototypes were hand built by Peter in his basement. He has a woodworking shop there, so
pretty amazing stuff. And for me, I mean, having owned them and being close to development, and when I hear any little thing going on in an industry, somebody whispers something, I'm like, oh, tell me more. Like, I want to know more about what's going on. It makes me excited. But then when I watch these guys talk about it in the videos and the way they smile like at each other or something's going on, there's also so giddy and happy about what's going on. So that is such a brilliant thing to be part of, and to witness how that passion is just so much part of what's going on and what's being developed. And it's for me, it's almost not like music tools. It's like artwork. They're designing from handcrafted ideas and putting all of their time into making it kind of successful. It's just brilliant. I just had to mention that you could see the joy in their face when they're talking to each other. So definitely
Peter has been in this industry probably 50 years. and he is more passionate now than ever, and he like hands-on and in the things, joining all the meetings. It's very fun, very inspiring.
Speaking of something that was a lot of fun, I need to showcase this. This is our other friend here, Yari. This is a picture that was taken by some in the group, and I wanted to touch and relate this to, because I want to give everybody a chance to speak here. It's a big group. It's kind of casual, so I want to rotate through and make sure we're all present. Yeah, can you tell us about this photo and what you thought of this giant 60-inch subwoofer that was on display there?
I think of all the shows that I've been to, this is the bigger speaker I've ever seen at them. Although I think it was at Axpona like 2 years ago. They had at one of the rooms this giant horns
Okay.
on the first floor. But I think this is definitely one of the biggest one. I'm not really that into audio. It's my husband, but I go by default, and we've been to so many shows that I have no other options than to learn some of it, right? But I always like to see random different things like that speaker around. I think it makes the show a little bit more fun and entertaining to go to. So yeah.
Yari, did you see the Dutch and Dutch giant 15C speakers up in the front?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Those were kind of like the same thing, kind of just ridiculous looking
Yeah.
speakers. So
Very large, yeah.
yeah,
Were those the ones that were like sorry, by like by the bar?
yeah,
Yeah.
mhm, yeah.
Those, I mean, they were big. They didn't look bad at though. Not like that one. That one's like I like, okay, that's just gonna take all of my living room, basically.
Yeah, these ones.
Those I think those were a little bit easier. I'll be a little bit easier to manage.
Right. Slightly more manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but large also, like spectacle. So
Yeah.
interesting to hear from someone who's not as much into audio, but also goes to these shows. I mean, to be honest, I think that industry should be listening to your opinion almost more than a lot of us, because we're at shows all the time. But if they're looking for new ways to attract or entertain or to inspire, I think that what you have to say about the shows probably more important, or at least on par with everybody else's here. So please, if anything stands out that you've experienced, let us hear it.
I mean, I always come up with a lot of ideas because like I sort of have a marketing background. So I go to the shows and that part of my brain automatically gets activated. Um, and I hate it, but it makes sense where they're always making the jokes of like, oh, is your wife gonna give you permission to buy this? And I'm like, you're not making these rooms marketable for the wife to really approve this. You know, you're just putting the prices out there, which is a very big price, and like, I don't know, give me a little bit more ambience. Decorate the room a little bit better. That's always something that I've always have to say about it. If you're trying to make it like the wife to give permission for the husband to buy it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting going to the shows. I had to say at the beginning, I used to hate it. Having to hear, as someone that loves music, having to hear the same 3 songs over and over again, because let's be honest, the options for music out in those shows, it's not much.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We only play real music at our room. So next year you can hear that. Okay.
You always see me going into the rooms playing real music. I have a story. I think also, it's always at Axpona. There was this room, It was a Chinese company, and they were selling some horn speakers, and they were playing classic Chinese music, and they did their whole spiel, and at the end they say, like, we asked what other kind of music could it be playing, and they're like, oh no, you can only play classical Chinese music in the speakers. And I'm like, what? And they were like, I want to say like $15,000. I don't know, like a ridiculous price for only that, for that you can only hear that type of music. And I'm like, yeah, no, bye. So I've definitely experienced both things where um it's more chill. Like Gishelli, we love Gishelli. They we're like family now. They There was 1 year, I think it was Capital, that they were taking, it was lunchtime, and me and my husband, we just took over the room for them, and we gave them a break
Oh,
while they had their
amazing.
lunch, and we were doing the presentation for them. Um, and they're like, just play your music, and people started coming into the room, and because we've already heard the whole speech, we just started giving out to people, and they're like, oh, okay. So they were able to take a minute to eat and take a break. So
That's so nice.
I've had that, but then I had that experience with the Chinese company where, like, you can only place this type of music with these speakers, nothing else. And I'm like, okay, then I'm not gonna give you my business whatsoever, you know. So yeah,
That's interesting to hear. And
That's actually a great perspective to have, because yeah, I think that a lot of the people who are presenting have a very specific person in mind that they're trying to present to, right? So their speakers are in a really small category and their customer is in a real small category, and they're trying to just capture that one or two people that fit into that box. But the Radiant Acoustic guys didn't do that. Those guys had a very open room with a lot of cool music and stuff. And then I don't know about what Rich does. Sorry, Rich, I don't know you that well, but you don't seem like the kind of person that would also do that bullshit. So
My website says we play real music. We
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
play demo tracks. And that's
Thank
what I
you.
do. I also make it a point, it shows, to confuse people. So half of my playlist is things like, this is Tainted Love, not by Soft Cell, but by the Stella Starlight Trio. And this is I Will Survive, an old disco song, not by Gloria Gaynor, but by Petra Magoni, an opera singer with a cello. I love to do stuff like, I love to share music. So I play
Yeah.
nothing but real stuff. I play oldies. I was playing Walk on the Wild Side. Someone walked into the room and like, I can't believe you're playing this.
Mm.
I said, it's music. That's what I play. Now, I'll also play you a different version by Talk Talk Talk, which is a German beatbox band. But that's the whole fun of the show for me, is to
Yeah.
play different stuff. I will play some classics, and I'll give you a very quick story. I could talk for this entire thing and never let any of you say a word. But you need to say shut up when you want me to stop. But I'm always having fun playing music, playing different things, having a good time. So one person came in, I was playing Hotel California. Hell Freezes Over. And they walked in with tired old audiophile. Yeah, it happens to be a tired old song by one of my favorite bands of all time called the Eagles. It happens to be one of my favorite songs of all time. It happens to be, as far as I'm concerned, a great song. And it happens to be a great song that people want to hear. So I'm playing it. And if you don't like it, there's the door. I will do stuff like that because I'm here for everybody. Another guy walked in, I was playing some EDM. I've got Disclosure, the Mechanism, I've got Ratchets by Hedberg, and that was wailing along. And this guy, unfortunately, my age, gives me that. So, I lean into his ear. You're going to play some real music? Sir, music is music. There
Yeah.
are different types, and I play them all. There's jazz, there's soft rock, there's some heavier rock, there's some pop, there's some EDM. That's what this is supposed to be for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah. Welcome, Luca. Welcome to our stream here. If you guys are not familiar.
Rich, my category of music is severely underrepresented at these audio shows, which is technical metal. So I don't get to hear a lot of what I like at the show. Oh, look at that. Oh, Luca, you can speak. There we go.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Welcome,
Hey, Luca.
welcome. Thank you for joining on. This is it's really great to have you and talk about your experience at Axpona and just give everybody kind of like a quick intro, I guess. I mean, a lot of us have been on for a little bit, so take the floor for a minute and let us know what you want us to hear.
Yeah, well, my name is Luca, and what you guys are seeing right here is my company, Chesky Audio. I started it just over a year ago, and you know, the biggest goal with the company was to kind of bring in a younger generation of audiophiles into this hobby that we all really love. And what I found was that, you know, as I'm sure we saw at the show, things get really expensive really, really quickly. And I think that can be a huge deterrent from this industry. And, you know, this is a passion that, you know, we all really, really like. And, you know, why have that? Why have, you know, financials be the inhibitor to that? So using modern manufacturing techniques, we're able to achieve a really, really nice cabinet using 3D printing to achieve a sound that punches way above its weight. And it's kind of been history since then. But yeah, this year at Axpona, I actually wasn't able to be there. I had the end of my midterms and the start of my finals for college. So you know, it's part of being a student, but I was fortunate enough. My mom and dad were covering the room. Uh-oh, I got to update that photo.
There you go. We're doing live QC right here for the show goers. This image refuses to load right now.
Yeah, I heard, you know, I was a little bit upset that I kind of had to miss this year because I heard it was an absolutely incredible show. Record attendance, which was amazing. And a lot of, you know, really, really cool brands, you know, a lot of people debuting new products, a lot of, you know, veterans there showing off, you know, their signature pieces. And overall, I just thought it was a great show, good response on our end. Yeah, I know the Radiant guys released a new speaker there. How is that?
Great success.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I also were in your room, and it was a little bit too packed to get any good seats. I can comment on the sound, but it was
yeah.
your dad was doing the demo, and it was very inspiring.
Nice. Yeah, you know, and I really think that it's brands like, you know, what I'm doing, what Radiant is doing, that are really going to help redo this entry level market. You know, with speakers like the LC1, the LC2, the Clarity 4.2, 6.2, and now the 6.6. Customers now have a really, really, really great point to kind of enter at that, you know, starting to get kind of pricey price point. And I think that, you know, our industry is really focused on the super, super expensive stuff with the $200,000, you know, turntables and $500,000 speakers, and it kind of leaves people who are just getting into the hobby with a gray area of not a lot of people doing that entry level stuff, which I really think is crucial for you know, anyone who wants really good sound.
Yeah. Yari, I want to ask you what you think about all of that, considering your position in all of this, being not quite an audio person, but was at the show. How do you interpret all of that?
I mean, I do agree that there needs to be a little bit more lower price, you know, options for people, especially if you're trying to bring in the younger crowd. The reality is those of us that are younger right now, we are very broke in this economy, but we still want to be part of the hobby, you know.
Yeah.
So we need to have options available for us to at least feel part, like we're being part of the community, even though we're not at a super high level out there, up there yet. But we still want to be able to afford some of it and get, be able to get into it somehow,
So
basically.
like an entry point that is attractive for each, like a younger person, sort of like entry point dollar wise, but also something that's attractive, serves a purpose, does what you need it to do, kind of thing. Yeah, there were only a number of rooms that I can think of off the top of my head. Canto was there, Fosse Audio was there. I mean, just to showcase again, like Nick offers some models that are in the same range that are actually handmade, that offer a different look. So this is about awareness. It's about spreading awareness for me, because
Yeah.
being interested in audio as a music lover is a fairly wide palette, right? But what you're getting or what's available, if you're not really sure what's out there for you, then it's kind of hard to pick and choose, and you don't see all of it everywhere. So in
That's
my
a really
point,
important
I
point.
just try to showcase as much as possible.
I'd like to interject and add something to that point, because it's a really critical one. When I'm talking to people all the time, I always say there's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the one that isn't asked. And the reason that I am saying that is, as manufacturers, distributors, and representatives, we are faced with a challenge. We talked about it earlier about consumers and dealers say, oh, I really want you to build it. You build it, and then they don't buy it. That's a problem. Another problem is we keep being told you should bring affordable stuff. So we bring an affordable sound system, $5,000 total, everything. And 85% of the show doesn't bother to look at it because a lot of people come to dream. And I try to explain that. Let's forget audio. I'm also a car guy. Guys go to the car show and they stand in front of the McLaren, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston Martin, because they're never going to drive one. They're never going to own one. They're probably never going to be in the same breathing space as one. And this is their chance to go and see it. So often we bring the big lumber, we typically refer to it, because that's what audiophiles want to see. And that's car companies have learned. We make the big expensive cars, and then we make the entry level one, because that's the one we end up selling. And that's what happens in audio. So I always encourage people, in my room, well, we had a pair of, not even, like, maybe they're going to be $1,500 a pair, bookshelf. And then we had another one that might be $2,500. And then, of course, the ones I was playing were $18,000, right? But the point that I tell people is, just talk to me, because guess what? I've got stuff at $300. Now, you want to buy 500,000 turntable? Oh, I have that too. I can't afford that. I don't expect you to afford that, but I have it. But just talk to me, because I might be able to show you all kinds of things that exist that you're unaware of.
There's also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, Nick, go.
I was just going to say, one of the big issues here is also like pro audio market versus hi-fi market. And I am a person who comes from a studio background. So if you say, hey, these speakers cost $5,000 to someone in a studio background, they're like, Jesus, that's a lot of money. If you say that to an audiophile, they'll look at you like, what's wrong with these speakers? Why do they only cost $5,000? And so trying to figure out which one of those people is your audience is a very important thing. And so I'm currently in a really weird position where I have a 50-50 split audience, where half of the people that use my speakers use them professionally, and half of the people that use my speakers use them in like a 2-channel home listening environment. And yeah, it's really interesting when you hear different people's opinions about prices. And, I'm sure basically this is also what Rich is saying, is like, there is something for everybody, but as a brand, I can't offer that. Right. So like, that's
Nor
Rich's
should
job.
you.
No, of course, right. That's not what I'm doing. I have to be a very niche product that fits into a really skinny window, and I have to do that the absolute best that I can. But then it's very important for someone like Rich to be able to engage with customers. My engagement with customers is less important, I guess.
I don't think so. I think your engagement's going to be exactly the same. You just have to know who you are, and it sounds like you do. And Lucas sounds like he knows exactly who he is and what he's going after. And when people question you, you have the beauty of being able to explain it to them. This is what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm doing. Maybe one day I'll have another line that's big and expensive, but right now, this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I'm focused. And that's, I look at that and I think that's super cool. When I talk to shop owners, like young guys starting out, and they'll call me, what do I do? What do you think I should do? What? I said, the first thing you need to do is figure out who you are and who you want to be. That's the most important thing. And if you can't pull off what you want to be, don't do it yet. Don't pretend to be the hypercar guy of the audio industry. I do super high end, but you don't have any super high end. Well, you're not. Well, that's fine. I think it's really cool to be, I'm the guy who's going to blow your mind with $2,000 and below, or whatever that number is. That's cool. And then people can say, here, you now have a point of entry where you want to be, what you want to do. And then maybe when you want to move into a different category, maybe I can help you with my brand, or maybe I'm going to point you to another one.
I have a comment on this, two comments actually. So from being close to Dolly, I can say that the Dolly Core, the huge, very expensive Dolly speaker, has lifted all of Dolly's brand, and also lifted sales in the cheaper ones. But then going to high-end Munich last year, for example, it seems to be, don't look at all this. It seems to be a race to be the most expensive one. And there's a lot of brands that only do like 1 or 2 systems, and they're $1 million and above. And that I don't get. Like, if you're only doing super high-end, or I would say super expensive, because high-end doesn't need to be expensive, then I don't really understand. Like, if you only have one set of speakers and they cost $9 million, how many do you sell, and who are your customers? I do not understand those systems.
I was having that question one of the years that I saw something like that, like it was $1 million speakers. And I don't remember who told me, like, truthfully, when you do the math, they only need to sell like 1 or 2 set of speakers a year to make up for it easily.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I asked the same thing. When you're talking hypercars, like Koenigsegg is one of those brands that I absolutely adore. Mostly for the engineering. It's not for how fast or how the result of it. I'm just looking at how they think and how they solve certain engineering problems, and look at the result of the technology and go, holy shoot, human beings thought of this? Are you kidding? Are they from Earth? Are we sure? That's the kind of thing that gets, and
they sell an extreme amount of cars.
And they sell so many,
sell everyone
probably because of that mentality, that thinking, that they're solving problems that are long history in automotive, and they're doing it in such a way that's actually, like you said with Core, they're pulling a lot of other brands up in quality, or at least engineering, because they're setting a new standard. That's an amazing thing. And yeah, I mean, a lot of products when they come out are expensive, and then we get the beautiful nature of trickle down technology. And that's why I mentioned F1 for car lovers, and say, yeah, 10 years later, maybe some of that F1 tech will be in your Corolla. You know, it just takes time, and it takes those $1 million sales in order to employ people, to trickle down the market, to push, you know what I mean, as long as it's done right and it's not corrupt. But that's kind of what I think of that kind of trickle down, or at least inspiration in technology. So yeah, it's expensive, but hopefully it will end up in a lot of other things.
One thing also that, I like to kind of say this analogy when people are talking about, the super expensive stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love, a crazy system that, you just sit down and you're like, wow. And then you listen to the price, and that's even more impressive. But one of the biggest things I think as well with, the first 2 weeks of college, I have a pair of my LC1s in my dorm. And, I brought over a bunch of friends to hear them. And 99% of the people there didn't even know what a stereo system was, right? They go, why do you have 2 speakers on your desk? Which was like, whoa. But they sat down and they heard, and they were like, wow, this is incredible. And the biggest thing is that I believe in our industry, we have this large gap of people that are just unaware of it. It's not that they don't like it. I haven't met a single person that has sat down to hear my system and they go, yeah, but that's whatever. There are much better speakers out there. But I think as an industry, if we really focus on getting those first people to just start, even if it's a $200, active speaker you put on your desk, eventually you go, wow, this is great. As you get older as well, maybe you get your first job, your second job, you're getting your promotions, your bonuses, you have some money to spend now. Now that you know that that's a thing, that's how we can convert that to those bigger brands buying Magicos or Wilsons or more expensive stuff. I think it's so crucial to enforce that budget range, because that's where we're going to really have the conversions for the more expensive stuff that kind of gives people a place to dream, because they know they know how good it can get now once they've kind of heard a baseline.
Yeah, that entry point, that inspiration. I mean, I don't know how everybody else kind of got introduced to the hobby or to the industry or just to speakers and systems in general, but I was invited by somebody who had a system that inspired me to try and build my own. That's how mine started. And I'm showcasing these because for those people who don't really, the 2-channel at your desktop, or if you have a computer system, you're using Bluetooth or your phone, there are a lot of people that don't have a lot of this, even 2-channel stereo, when music has so much more information to share with them. And I don't know that they're inspired the same way that maybe we were. And that's where that gap is. What do you guys think about that?
Our industry, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that first push to get over to 2-channel is so unbelievably important. Like I was saying before, if I go down, everybody in my dorm hall, most people have like a little JBL. It's like, it's a mono individual speaker, and they're great for, if you go to the beach, you can throw them around, they don't break. But the second you get, even if it's not a crazy system, like if it's those Kanto speakers, you get, like you said, you get all of that information. And I think the biggest thing is that, I'm a big believer that we are in the industry of experience. Our jobs as speaker manufacturers are to deliver you the experience of being there. That on a Friday night, you come back and you sit down in front of your system and you close your eyes and Jimi Hendrix is in front of you, even if, he passed away all those years ago. Our job is to deliver the most convincing experience. And then when you start with 2 channels rather than 1, it's the first step. You get imaging, you get soundstage, you get depth. No matter if it's a $200 speaker or a $10,000 speaker, that first jump is so crucial. And then, I originally started in hi-fi with headphones. I kind of started, over the pandemic. I started with some Hi-Fi Man headphones, and I had I think it was like an iFi Zen DAC. But once you go from something that's just either in your ears or just one solid speaker to having that beautiful image in front of you, it's like that saying, once you know what you're missing, it's hard to go back.
Yeah. Well, the hi-fi Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich, you were going to say something, and I didn't want to cut you off.
I was just going to say something that sometimes gets me in trouble, and as I mentioned, I'm a troublemaker. We are our own worst enemies, in that we all know this is what we should be doing, but we don't do it. And unfortunately, there's a good reason for it. It's called return on investment. Lots of manufacturers are thinking short-term versus long-term, not because they want to. It's called survival. Right? This cash flow is just not what it used to be. You know, I'll turn to some of the companies that I represent and say, we need visibility. If we don't tell people that these exist, are out there, and are affordable, they're never going to know. And then the example I use, it's a favorite of audiophiles. If you walk down the street and you ask 10 people, non-audiophiles, human beings, what's the best speaker on the planet? We all know the answer we're going to get. It's Bose. And why are we going to get that answer? Because Bose spends all day telling them that.
Yeah.
In Europe, you will get Sonos.
So I introduced Sonos to the Canadian market. I think I spent 5 or 7 years with them. Yeah, great. So I look at this stuff and I'll say, the challenge we have is at least I know for the companies I represent, we have limited marketing budgets. So they never do what I want them to do. The problem is it's probably what they should be doing, which is what, Luca is doing. And I can't remember her. I think it's what Luca and Nick are doing.
I'm not doing that at all, actually, and that was going to be a point that I brought up. But
you're not doing any marketing. How is it that
no? I don't mean about the marketing. I just mean about from the perspective of where I'm designing and creating audio from is totally not that perspective.
I'm just talking about affordable. All I'm talking about.
Okay,
sure. The kudos that I gave to Mark when he was in the room at one point was, I said, I think you did a great job because I met a lot of human beings. And I jokingly use that term, right? Because, there are audiophiles. Sorry, just knocked my microphone over. There are audiophiles who sit down. It's the chin scratch, right? You got to get the pouty face and the chin scratch, and they start evaluating. And then they'll say something to me. In the upper mid-range over that wasn't accurate. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And I'll say, really? Tell me more. Just out of curiosity, were you there? Because I was. I was in the recording studio.
I had
and we recorded it, and then we played it back on these speakers. And then I looked at the artist and said, so is this what it sounds like? And she said, yeah.
Beautiful.
My point in this is that audio is all about personal taste. We hear differently, we see differently, and we have things we like and that we don't like. There's no right and wrong. Affordability, well, there's an affordability crisis everywhere. Things are a lot of money, but affordability is key. We need new blood. And so I am thrilled to see I have 2 pieces of new blood on this call alone. And that's amazing. And that's what we need to, we need to be telling people audio is cool. We all know music is fun. And this is what I always say to people. Do you like music? Really? But you don't have a sound system. Go listen to one. You might discover something, but we need to educate. This is where I was going with all this. We need to educate people that you can buy a sound system for very little money, a lot of money, and everything in between. And that's what life is like for most things. So if you like music, get a sound system. I don't care if it's 200, 2,000, or 200,000. Get something, listen to music, share it with your friends.
I think the other thing in the position of audio manufacturers and more importantly, speaker manufacturers is how we're going about marketing. I think in the current industry that we have, and the current demographic and the way that people consume knowledge, not knowledge, but consume media, is largely through stuff like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And the biggest thing is, I mean, now we're finally starting to see it with, I mean, just on my phone today, I was on my Facebook, I got like 8 Radiant acoustic ads. So they definitely
I showed them the same thing in the room. I was scrolling a little bit just to check something out and not to interrupt, but there were 3 of them within 5 different posts. So yeah.
So, you know,
Big props to our marketing department.
Yeah.
you guys definitely have it down. But I think the biggest thing is that the majority of these brands are not advertised. It's not budget. It's not, you know, because also if anyone here has ever tried to take an ad in audio magazines, they're expensive. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
So that can be a lot of budget. But the biggest thing is, how are we advertising? I think as manufacturers, we have to view it as not what it used to be 20 years ago and approach it with modern views. And the best way is through this. Making little videos on your phone can be enough to tell people why is it worth having a speaker. And then that also goes into the art of the demo. I think the art of the demo is something so unbelievably important. You know, when I started, you know, showing for Chesky Audio, I realized, wow, I have like no more time to go into any of the rooms to see any of the stuff. But on the moments that I do, one of the biggest things I notice is that 90% of the time you're going to walk into a room, no one's explaining anything. There's going to be a guy in a corner with a Rune iPad, and he's going to say, "Would you like to hear anything?" And if you don't, no one's going to present or say anything. And I think the biggest thing is that will lose so many. That room is incredible. They really they go out of the park for.
Speaking of someone sitting in the corner with an iPad.
Those guys kicked me out of the room. Those guys are dickheads.
But I think when, you know, I have, you know, the way I present my speakers is unbelievably strict. That's not the case for, you know, oh, you don't want to play other stuff. It's just when you're presenting your product, not only, first off, every time somebody walks into the room, you have to greet them. You have to make them feel welcome, because a lot of the times you have people that are walking in to a hi-fi show that have never really heard speakers before or systems like this. And then they sit down and they're hearing stuff like frequency response and impedance and impulse and transients and what kind of amps and sensitivity. It's a lot of stuff that, unless you're, you know, kind of into the hobby or an engineer or, you know, just really into it, can be super scary. And so I really believe that the way that we present our products at these shows is so important. You know, that was one big thing that, you know, I got a lot when I first started, was a lot of people would walk in the room and say, wow, you know, no one's really been presenting today. And that shouldn't be the case. Everybody should be, you know, explaining what's going on in the room, what do they have, how much is it, because not only is that going to generate sales for the people, because they're going to, you know, they're going to be more comfortable in the room, they're going to understand what's going on, but they also will get a feel for, you know, if they're enjoying it, how much is it going to be? A lot of the times you walk in the room, you don't know the price of anything, you don't know what's being shown, you don't know.
There are reasons for that.
Yeah, I was gonna offer maybe a little bit of a different take on.
Me too. You go first.
Okay, so people are coming to listen to your speakers. They're not coming to get a lecture about your speakers, and that's why you provide technical information and pamphlets and booklets. And that's the kind of thing that if someone's going to buy a speaker from you or you gain interest, they're going to pull you aside and you're going to have that conversation privately. And I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't offer information or give a little bit of, you know, a 30-second talk about your stuff, but you're there to play music and to present music and to give people an audible experience. And I in my opinion, the room should be geared towards that. And then if they want to gain technical information, they can seek that. Like I sought out, again, I'm so sorry, the Radiant Acoustic dude, I sought him out in the hallway, right? The proper place to have that conversation is in the hallway, or secondarily, not in the room. So that's my opinion, and maybe Rich was going to say something.
I wish that was the case. So many times, and even in my videos, which is why I started doing body cam videos and just shooting videos of what the show is like. Now, yeah, people in the comments are gonna be like, yes, doesn't sound right, this is compressed. I'm like, yeah, you're missing the point. This isn't an audio demo. You can't tell what anything sounds like on YouTube anyways. Why would you even present that as a premise? Like, you lost just coming in here.
Yeah,
but what you see is what the room is like, and you see people, especially Montreal. Now, I don't know if Rich can attest to this, but they stand in the front of the room in front of a speaker and have full-blown conversations about stuff right in front of other people trying to get a demo in lots of the rooms.
And I will usher those people right out of the room.
I wish all the rooms had that.
I had one of our dealers, I won't mention his name, he's a quad ESL electrostatic panel dealer, and he was having this incredibly loud conversation with someone while someone sitting in front of him was trying to listen, and I walked over, I said, gentlemen, this is a suite, 2 rooms. That room is for talking. This room is for listening. You want to talk? Go over there, knock yourselves out. I want to come back and answer something. Well, Nick started talking about it, and then I chimed in. I think, Luca, everything you were saying was right, but I'll throw a bunch of caveats at it. So, you're holding up your phone. This is what we should do. This doesn't cost a lot of money.
One second. I just have to grab my computer charger. My computer's about to die. 2 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure
while we're waiting for him,
you have just learned how to shut Rich Zidel up.
It was a good tactic. It didn't work though.
Yeah,
no, nothing works.
But just quickly from here, thank you, Nick, for the kind words. We're both named Frederick, and the not talking in the listening room is one of the reasons why we went 4 people from Europe to Chicago,
right,
to have that possibility. But also I did that mistake. I talked to some customers in our room and very quickly got told by Jasper, our DJ, to leave the room.
Yeah.
So he could do his thing.
It's
a respect thing.
Right.
Can I just finish my point, because I'm going to forget, because I'm old?
Yep.
Here's what I wanted to say. Luca brought up this really good point. We were talking about, I was saying we're our own worst enemy and we need to do better marketing, and he mentioned, you can do social and that doesn't cost much or anything, but it does. If you're a big company, say, I'm a one-man band, so I can do social because I'm doing it. If you're a big company and you turn to, at MoFi, it's Josh Rudner. Well, he used to be a salesperson. Now he manages social media. There is a cost. We're now paying a salary to a guy to do that all day, every day. So there is a cost. Just because it doesn't cost you to post on social does not mean that there is no cost. You also might spend some money creating content. I hired Joe to take pictures of my quad room at Axpona so that I could post them, because I knew I would have no time. So there is a cost to doing that. I still agree. He's right. Like, we need to do stuff like that. But there are costs to everything. And that's where we need to try to figure out, what are we going to do? I had said earlier when I always tell people, decide who you are and what you want to be. That's what I do for hi-fi shows. Do you want to be presenting equipment, an official presentation? Then you make people wait outside. You'll have the door closed. Jones and Soretta did this. Bill stood outside and said, you all will be next. Then he opened the door and 8 people went out and 8 new people went in, and he closed the door. That wasn't just a listening session. Andrew Jones was doing what Andrew does, one of the few people on the planet who talk more than I do. So he was busy explaining the gear and then playing it. I don't do that. Sounds like you don't do that either, Nick. You know what I do? I leave the door open and I let people saunter in and listen to music, and I wait for them to ask about the equipment.
That's exactly what I do as well, Rich, because it's important. It's
I'm not forced to down their throat.
Yeah, it's pointless to engage with someone who hasn't had an emotional response already. It's completely,
or doesn't want one,
or doesn't, or is there exactly, or is there to essentially argue with you about shit that's completely irrelevant to your room or to your product. And it's right. You want to have that engagement first, and then back to the advertising thing. Like what you were saying is like, yes, it might seem like an easy thing, but it's like, how many hats can you wear as the CEO of a company, right? I build my speakers, I design my speakers, I build my crossovers. I'm working on getting things put into CNC files. I'm managing customer relationship. Is it my job to advertise and do media? No, it's not. That's absurd. I have to do it because I'm the only person that I can afford to have do it right now. But at a certain point, I think that needs to be passed off to someone whose job it is to do that. I should be designing speakers, not doing media, right?
It's fantastic. If you can pass that off, great. Until then, you do it yourself.
Yeah,
Look, I'm a one-man band. I don't think that's ever going to change. I had employees, and then the problem was every customer that I signed up said, yeah, but we want you to do it. So the employees moved on, and I do it all myself, including the social, the Insta, the Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. And it's great. So Luke, and I was just saying, you're right? I think we should be using social, but there is a cost associated with
Absolutely.
social. So you have to figure that out, and you have to create content. I got all excited when AI got powerful enough that I thought, maybe I can afford to try something AI to create content.
It's so bad.
I didn't even use their trial. I looked at their ad and I wrote to them. I said, do you know there were I think 7 syntax and English errors in your
English.
Yeah. The language that you guys apparently use.
Yeah.
There were 7 errors in the post, in the advertising post that you posted to convince me to pay you to use your service. 7 errors. I would never hire you. I would never buy your platform. I'm going to block you. I don't ever want to see you again.
Yeah. It's really bad.
I know I can't do that. So I've got to create this stuff. I've got to put this stuff out. And so it's a challenge for me. And what I was just trying to say is, for even a larger company, it's a challenge for them. So we have a social guy. That's a salary. And that's all he's doing. You have to be able to afford it. And that's okay. It's fine. But that's why I'm always saying, it's just, you got to figure out who you are, who you want to be, and what you're going to do to get there. And then the hardest thing for me was to realize I can't do it all the time. So if I'm attending, and this is why I hired Joe, I'm attending this show as an exhibitor, I'm not going to have time to take the pictures that I wanted. Now, maybe I can't hire a marketing department, but in this case, I was able to hire Joe, take the pictures for me, and then at least I can post nice pictures, right?
Right.
So we need to figure it out. We need to draw in new blood. I'm trying to do it with social. I'm going to try to do it with the pod. I've done some YouTube tests. Those are fun. The problem is too much editing work. So I'm moving towards reels. Short reels are easy. I don't edit them, and people love them. I did one of my room before I set it up. I did one after I set it up. I did one downstairs. I looked the other day. It was over 1,000 views. And it was like, cool.
Yep.
That's great. And no editing. So for me, that was great. We as an industry, we need to figure this out. I don't know how we're going to do it. I think shows are great. And I think new people coming in is fantastic.
I think, I was going to say, I think Reels for most platforms, whether you're doing YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, or TikTok, I found that in all of my kind of ROI sections, that Reels had been the best because it was the least amount of work, it was the least amount of editing. Because it's very, and I want to preface as well with what I said, it's very easy to say, oh, just make video, make content, but it takes time to film it. You're not always going to get it right on the first shot. Then you have to get the footage, edit it. It is time consuming. But then when you work with a format like Reels, it makes it a lot simpler with the newer editing softwares on, with an iPhone. You don't need to be, an all-out editor to figure out. And that's like, I personally do all the editing for my Reels. I'm now starting to outsource editing, which there are a lot of places where you can find very, 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 very cheap editors that will do a fine job. And out of everyone, and like there was I forgot the study, but there was an age set from about 18 years old all the way up to 25 consume almost all of their information through Reels, depending on the platform, but it's almost always in that format. So every time I see an audio reel, first off, I find it engaging. Like when Radiant did Peter Lingdorf did like one of those sit down little interviews and clipped it, a bunch of them. And, one of the sentences you guys use, why Radiant? Like, what's another speaker brand? And I think it's a great line, and it's super engaging, even if it's a 15-second clip. It tells you all you need to know. And then, I don't want to be like rambling and ranting on it, but I think that Reels are probably the best kind of time and money to return that I've personally seen for at least this zone in audio. Maybe if you're selling more expensive stuff, you need a dealership and stuff. But for direct sales, Reels have been good.
Yeah, for return on investment for certain types of audiences, let's face it, the number one thing that's going to come back is, well, this isn't the way they sound. I'm like, yeah, no shit. But which audience is that? Is that the new audience or is that the outgoing audience? No offense to say outgoing, but there's a transition happening.
Anyone who's commenting to you that they didn't sound like they did on your YouTube video, duh.
Exactly. That one word
they're not supposed to. You were listening on your phone speaker or your laptop speaker, so it didn't sound like the speaker. It's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Those are silly comments. The thing that Luca that you touched on, which I love, the interesting thing about Reels to me is attention span, which is non-existent in North America. So you try to make something that's 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. There's a million studies out there, and I've analyzed them. They'll tell you when you lose people. And what I love about the Reel, you guys already know, I'm a blabbermouth, right? So what I love about the Reels are, I limit myself to 60 seconds. Hi, folks. Rich Zidel from Zidel Market. 58 seconds. Bye.
Yeah. And even that 1 minute, they'll put it at double speed to listen to it.
Sometimes they will. But it forces me to self-regulate and to do this in under a minute.
Yep.
And I love that.
60 seconds, 3 times a day.
I have to say that as someone that is in communications that manages social media for my job and is in charge of video editing because we do long form videos, I hate doing the long form videos because when you look at the analytics, people only out of a 7 minute video, they only see really just 1 minute of it. So I'm like, why did I just waste 2 days of job editing this video for people to see 1 minute when I can just shoot a reel in less than 5 minutes and upload it the way it is.
That's some of what we do here. We do the long form video, but then we have snippets from it. Which all the reels you see from us, most of them at least, is snippets from long form video.
Long format.
But I also want to point out that one of the things that has been a success for us, especially like that we realized at Axpona has been YouTubers. YouTubers has great reach. That's why we're in this talk right now. And some of the people came up to us was like, oh, I saw your speakers from Erin's Audio Corner or Morten Stjernholm or a British audiophile guy or
Nemo.
yeah.
Nemo's had them a bunch. He's got both
Nemo
models and he's
and-
compared
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So yeah, like these guys, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that on that point, the speaker we brought to Axpona got shipped directly to Erin's Audio Corner after the show.
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to say, now that you
Exciting.
mentioned YouTubers, Rich, you mentioned that no one talks more than you, and I think Seos Pantera might give you competition on that because that man never shuts up.
You guys in studio might see it already, and I think that I'm gonna welcome him to the show here, largely to speak to a headphone crowd, because it's one thing that we haven't really covered here. Everybody here is generally like a 2-channel open air speaker kind of person. We've spoken at length to this kind of end, and the one reason why I wanted to extend an invite to Zeos is two or three different reasons, and I have more than that, but three that I would say is: one, the difference in style as an influencer on YouTube is dramatic. A lot of people may be very divisive on that, but it has such an impact, especially in this other kind of demographic. Outspoken and saw stuff that I didn't see at this show, so that's another reason. And I mean, many of you are here for that reason. Like, I didn't get to see what you saw, and what I saw, you guys didn't get to see. So this is really about bringing elements and factors to the table to try and get a perspective on a large show that I don't think anybody saw, not even in 3 days. 100%. I ran the building 16th floor to convention center, back and forth to marketplace 8 times, maybe 10 times, and I still only saw 48%. So, I mean, to try and get like a big picture perspective on what we're dealing with here, there must have been 10 different teams of YouTube creators on site. Some of them are in my videos. I met a bunch of them, and they're all filming some of the same stuff, but I bet that when it comes out, it's largely a different perspective on what's in those spaces. And I think anybody wise looking at audio or any products now are looking at this influence, but mainly just for information, because we know the audio is not relevant in a video or recording, but at least it's out there. It gives somebody like, oh, this exists. Okay, let me look into it. And that's where some maybe professional side of marketing, like training or skills, and you can edit a certain way. I mean, guys like Mr. Beast have figured it out. He's been in it for a decade or more, right? Like, he knows how to shoot that way, but also like links, where the dealers are, dealer locator links, things like that, to bring people across that bridge from your video to where they can find it. Like, what's their next step, right? That's something in the creator space that it should be there. If anybody's going to do marketing or include reels, that's what you got to include, is like how to get from the video to the next step. So I'm hoping that this works out. I'm hoping that I can get this camera issue figured. We can bring on another spokesperson for this show. How's everybody doing with time? I know you guys from Denmark, it's pretty late. So if
we're closing in on midnight here, so we'll probably stay for 5-10 more minutes.
Yeah,
sure, understandable. I do appreciate everybody for being here.
Is Z coming on? Because I would just like to ask him about the product that he has of mine, if he's on, and if not, then that's okay.
Yeah, I can bring him on. The problem is the camera's not working, and you know what? That's his style, anyways. If I think for the whole first part of the YouTube career, it was all just point of view. There's no face reveal. So I think
I'm gonna have to head out, but I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and it was really great talking to all of you guys.
It was a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
I got to enjoy your room. It was a great room at Axpona. Yeah, man.
Thanks,
good job.
Thank you.
I'll listen next year.
Take care, guys.
Thank you for being here.
See you.
Of course.
Okay, let's bring in Z. Audio only.
I am audio only. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The man is audio only.
I am on the audio. There you go. Perfect. Hello.
And we can-
Yari, Nick, Rich, the guys from Radiant, and of course Joe. Thank you for inviting me to this. Sorry I'm a little late. I was indisposed.
Yes, that's no problem. I know that life kind of, especially with this being short notice for a lot of people, it's totally understandable. That's all good. But we're glad you're here.
Well, glad to be here.
So I didn't get to run into you at the show, unfortunately, but I just have you currently have a set of BlackOcean audio speakers, and I'm not pressing you for an early review, but I just want to know if you have anything to say about them currently.
Well, I have them basically where I test speakers, like the actual final listening position is in my basement because it's essentially a great treated room. The ceiling's got all the insulation and paper. It's got no first point reflections. But that space is like crowded and taken up. It's usually the next thing I'm reviewing. So your speakers are actually up in my great room, which has horrible acoustics.
Oh, wonderful.
No.
Okay.
But here, so there's a good part to this because I've lived in this house for 6 years, and I keep putting any of the bigger tower speakers. I have that in front of me right now are the Klipsch Forte 4s. And I'll put them in that space and see if they can even perform. And almost none of them do. And that changed recently within the last year with the Philharmonic BMRs. For some reason, those with their little 2-inch mid-range, something about them, they just work in the space, and they don't just sound like an echoey mess. And the only other speaker that works with is your speaker. So I know when I bring it down to the basement to do the final actual assessment, it's going to be at least on par with the Philharmonic BMR, which is one of the rare speakers that I've actually purchased with money in the last like 10 years because I needed it just in my life.
Well, that's rad. Okay, I'm going to say that is a total net positive. So thank you, Z. That's great. Okay.
Yeah, the full assessment will come.
Yeah, if there's anything you want me to put on screen, since there's no visuals here, then just guide me, point me, mention something.
I'm more terrified of you just randomly clicking things with my name on it.
No, I know better than that. But
that's fine. It's beautiful. My thumbnails are fantastic. I love the one.
Yeah, and this is the most recent one here. This is
all you need is the motion there with the hand waving. You'll know if I like something or not.
I like the fact that we have another Z logo. That's cool.
Yeah, the headphones. A lot about the headphones. So that was the one thing that not a lot of us covered was headphones. The headphones area. I mean, Yari's also probably can speak to that being in some of that section, but headphones wasn't mentioned a lot. So Z, if you do have a perspective or something to say that's not going to reveal from your video, of course, which is
my video is in flux right now because my editor is missing, and actually my editor might be in front of me. Hi.
I'm figuring it out. But yeah, we'll put it that way.
Usually at these shows, there is always like a headphone section. So it's obviously not a headphone show. It's a 2-channel show. If you go by literal weight, but it's very, very interesting because I've hosted a table there 2 years in a row. This year was the first year I actually got to be press officially. But when I hosted there, the people who walk in aren't headphone people. They're 2-channel people most of the time because they're just there for something else. And to get their perspective from someone not interested in a headphone to using a headphone to going, you know what, I like this headphone, or nope, not for me. Because headphone people like headphones, but speaker people, if you say, hey, there's no more speakers, you have to pick a headphone. I think that they're not even versed in the world. It's like it almost is. How do I put this? Because people who are into 2-channel, like heavy 2-channel, I think have almost no interest in headphones. It's usually the average. My cat is joining us.
Yeah, I'm the exception there.
Yeah, people. Like when I do reviews here, I would probably say I'm a speaker person more than a headphone person, just because I don't want to have something clamped to my head all day. But I grew up in a small little apartment. I had brothers and sisters. I wanted them to go away. It was a need. I grew up with a need to use headphones. I think if you're a suburbanite now, you're playing video games in a console or your computer in the room, you're gonna have a headphone before you have speakers. That's probably the way it's going to be going from now on. I think there was probably a time period and I wouldn't even know how to estimate it, where if you want to listen to music, you got speakers. There was no headphone option. Maybe the mid 80s, late 80s, headphones started to become an option. And so people who are on the older generation, the 2-channel people now who can afford these, $250,000 setups, they really didn't ever have the need to wear a headphone. But now everyone who's 20 years old owns a headphone. It's guaranteed. I think pretty much every single person will own a true wireless earbud or a headphone or a gaming headset. And so it's going to actually become interesting over the course of the next, I guess, 20 or 30 years, because people who growing up and are going to have jobs and hopefully making money and getting into the industry are going to be like, well, I grew up on headphones. I never got to use speakers. Why would I be interested in that? So it actually might shift to the point where there is only like a 50-50 mix of 2-channel and headphone interest. Because I think when you put a headphone show, a little one like this, into a 2-channel show, you're probably going to get a bunch of people that are from the separate categories, and they're going to go and explore. I know there was people who came to my booth last year. I was like, I came here to listen to the headphones, and I went, what speakers did you like upstairs? And they went, I didn't even come here to listen to the speakers. So they have no interest there because they think they can't afford them, and they literally don't have the space to put them in. So I think if you wanted to get back onto like a really existential topic of the future, is will speaker culture almost die out as we are doing this? We're growing headphone enthusiasts, essentially.
Nope.
I have an opinion. So I think that one of the problems, and you kind of touched on this, and it's one of the things that I like really care about when I'm creating products, is the size of stuff, right? So I'm 37, but nobody in my circle of age has the ability to take a giant floor standing set of speakers with them as they move from place to place. Even myself, who's a pretty established person, has to plan on essentially moving every 3 or 4 years, just because we rent and things happen, things change with needs for my workshop or whatever. So yes, headphones are obviously way, way easier and much easier to invest in if you're someone who's my age and you have to move around a lot. But speaker companies are not. Now, Radiant Acoustics is, but other companies are designing these gigantic speakers, right? So like a Jones and Soretta speaker, even if you were a super wealthy person who was my age, you could not own that speaker because you cannot just take that giant behemoth around with you as you move from place to place. So I think headphones will stay in, and I think speaker companies that design things that are small and modular so that you can use different size things to build your stack as you want are going to be what stay around, because you're going to have, for example, I don't know what the plan is, but if you put a stacked sub unit under that, not a subwoofer, but a bass extension unit, all of a sudden that becomes a full range speaker that you can utilize kind of like this in multiple areas, and you can use the top by itself if you want to, or you could add the bass extension and it becomes a modular unit. So I think your point is completely right that we might see these behemoth speakers disappear, but I think people that are looking at how to shrink that package and make it usable in apartment spaces, that's going to stay around.
Well,
I think you're both wrong.
I'm wrong?
No, I said I think you are both wrong, because as I said, this is all about opinion. Here's my opinion. I think the market is going to grow into each other. I think speaker guys are going to discover that high-end headphones have a place in their life. And I think high-end headphone people are going to discover that speakers, and sometimes big ones, have a place in their life. And I'll back this up, as I always do. Forget audio. Let's go to cars. Okay. If you have a car collector, they buy cars for different things and for different experiences. And I think if we do this properly, and that means we have to introduce people to everything, I think we can see growth in both areas. I often will say to people, if you haven't attended a live concert, please do that. And I'll tell you why right now. This doesn't work. This sounds lovely. Speakers do something more than just sound. Speakers place instruments. Speakers create imaging. They create depth of field. They give you a different experience. I'm not saying it's better. I prefer it. I'm not saying it's better. Everyone has personal taste. But what I'm saying is they do different things. They're also, when you put these on, it's a personal experience.
Yeah.
I do something, I don't do listening parties. People talk about those all the time. I wish I did, but I do this thing that I don't do it enough. It's a music discovery party. And I will say to 3 friends, 4 maybe, I want you to bring something. And you don't have to bring the vinyl record, you know, it could be on a stream. I have internet access, right? I don't care how you bring it. File, you know, record, streaming, whatever. Say, I want you to play something that you have a feeling I've never heard and I'm going to like. Introduce me to something. I suppose if you wanted to get an amplifier with splitters on it and there was a way for everyone to have headphones on and do it, I suppose you could.
Yeah, I used to have a headphone splitter I used to record guitar, not vocal much, but drums, a whole bunch of other stuff. And I had guys would bring amps around. I'd mic everything. And then we'd have a headphone splitter so everybody could have their own volume on their headphones so you can hear a little bit of each other. And that's more like a pro audio thing where you have a headphone splitter in a space.
Well, there are actually
do that for though. Are you going to do that for 5 people?
Rich's point is that
8.
it is the connection, right?
So it's the connection. I think there's enough space for both of these. And I really think music lovers at some point want both.
There's enough.
I think
I'm wearing
whatever
I'm wearing because I do use these.
If I was going to compare headphones to speakers with another analogy, it would be a headphone would be reading a book and the speakers would be watching the movie of the book. Whereas, like, if you're reading a book, it's just you, unless you're reading it aloud. It's just you and the words on the page. But if you were to start even just reading the book, screaming it aloud, that is what speakers. You're getting other people involved. I think, and this is from many people talking to me. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to bother my neighbors. I don't want to, bother my wife." That's why they get into headphones, is because it's almost like they're treating speakers as an obtrusive thing. They don't want to get in you put on a pair of speakers, someone's going to hear it besides you, usually.
Valid point.
That might be something that people are afraid of.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And that's, why I believe everything has a place. So there are times where it's exactly that. I don't want to bother my family, and I pop headphones on and I will listen to some music with the headphones. As a terrible musician, failed musician, really, as a music lover, and as a guy who's been working in audio for over 45 years, I prefer listening to speakers for some of the reasons that I mentioned. I think I want positioning. I want depth of field. I want ambiance. I want to get goosebumps because I literally feel like I'm in the space. A lot of that I'm not going to get with headphones. Some of it I might, but I prefer to live the experience as if I was at the concert. And playing in my head doesn't do that, but there's a time and a place for that. And that's why I'm saying it's not like I discovered headphones. I always knew what headphones were. But when I got a high-end pair of headphones, I didn't mind being in my own head listening late at night, where I used to just not listen. So that allowed me to listen to more music and to enjoy music when perhaps I wouldn't have been able to. So I think that's what I mean when I think we're going to see crossovers. I think people who have headphones are going to experience speakers, and I think a bunch of them are going to want them, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you know what I realized also, if we're tracking trends, and I know
Joe, I gotta go.
going
Later, man.
See you next.
Thank you, everybody. Very nice meeting you guys. Rich, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah. See you guys later.
I think though the other thing that it didn't come to mind, because when you think about mobile music, you think about, oh, I have a boombox. You're like, that's the 80s. That 80s, 90s, and then it died. But we now have a resurgence, a great resurgence, because everybody's got a Bluetooth speaker as well. I'm talking about if we're talking about getting this hobby to grow, we have to get down to the people who are buying $29 Walmart speakers.
Correct.
To take to parties. Not people who are already spending $1,000 on a headphone might spend $1,000 on a speaker. The fact that you can purchase a speaker and people are taking it places and enjoying music as groups is going to be better for the entire audiophile lineup, whether it's headphones or speakers.
100%.
So now we have easier access to headphones, easier access to IEMs, and easier access to essentially speakers, albeit some of the Bluetooth speakers are terrible. But there's always hope that that's going to invite people to want to hear more, spend more, get up into the actual hobby.
Yep.
So I think we actually are on a pretty good trajectory.
Yeah, like
I
I mean, to speak
jump
to
in?
that, I mean, we just one point. I mean, at the Airbnb, the system that you brought to that place made that whole weekend so much more enjoyable. Having something of that scale and clarity overall, like we all are audio people, and that system just made such a tremendous deal. I mean, almost like a deal breaker in my opinion. But it was so incredible just to bring that along, to have it on a trip that it's very small, not that expensive, and it really changed the dynamic of the whole space. So that
Well, yeah,
was,
I mean, I brought like actual speakers you plug into with XLR cables. I went a little crazy, but if I didn't want to go that far, there are Bluetooth speakers. We heard the set, the biggies, the Morel biggies.
Yeah.
You could just buy that for $300 or $600 for the stereo, put it anywhere you want, and actually enjoy high-end quality audio. And that is the point of entry for the youth right now. They could just spend $600 on 2 extremely good Bluetooth speakers and actually have a stereo hi-fi setup.
Mhm.
And then once they're there, it's getting them locked into, a set of towers in a house or
right.
studio
Future
monitors.
investment. Right.
I'm just gonna jump in. It's 10 minutes past midnight for us.
Oh my goodness.
So
I have a thing to add there, and that is on the kind of headphone versus speaker side, and that is when trying to approach the newcomers or new people into the industry, we kind of have to find where they are consuming music in the first place.
Mhm.
And youth, while studying, while commuting, while working out, and that is a force that loudspeaker manufacturers kind of have a disadvantage, because don't really bring a pair of speakers to the gym, you don't really bring a pair of speakers to the university lectures, you bring
Right.
your headphones.
Yeah.
And kind of create a lifestyle where speakers are maybe de facto way of listening. For example, the resurgence and the growth of soundbars, for example,
Mhm.
is one of the reasons where they can combat headphones, because movie and TV show listening, you don't really want to use earphones for that. But for most other cases where the youth are listening to music, it's in the on-the-go kind of scenarios.
Yeah,
so that
mobile.
is like combating or contradicting forces to where loudspeaker manufacturers maybe should position themselves when making products, to kind of get the people where they are actually listening.
I mean, I can vouch for that, because most of the speakers I'm reviewing now, if they are self-powered, they all have eARC, they all have HDMI inputs on them, so you hook them to your television. They are designed to be in that space, because that is the only space, I would say 99% of the population does not use headphones to watch media on a television. If you're on a computer, if you're a kid, you're 19, that's all you have, it'll probably still be headphones. But as soon as it is a TV in a room, you're going to have a soundbar, you're going to have the built-in speakers, which are terrible, but you are not going to have headphones. So that really is a good way to position yourself. And I think I've seen brands like Kef with they have the smart towers that integrate perfectly with all the video inputs and remote controls. And they are pivoting, because they know you're gonna put speakers next to your TV. The
Mhm.
people who put speakers just in a room alone to listen to music, we are still a minority of that. And eventually someone might just do both.
I want to add to what my colleague said there, that our sister company, Hi-Fi Klubben, which is a retail chain, they did the market research, and I don't remember exactly numbers, but half of the time, like actual 50% of the time, people listen to music is on the move. But they watch TV about twice the amount of minutes a week that they do listening to music. And for younger people, that's YouTube also. They don't have linear TV anymore, right? So getting better quality on live recordings and those tiny desk concerts, for example, and those stuff. I think that's essential to get some of the young people to realize that I maybe should not listen to this on my computer speaker or TV speaker.
Yeah,
that's why I often invite people, hey, go listen to some music.
Yeah,
other human beings. Go to a concert, go to a rave. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter. Experience music out in the world. And then you can wear these on your bike, walking, on the bus, whatever. And then you can get home. You can take these off and you can live that same worldly experience of the music with a pair of speakers. We can do both. We should do both. These are fantastic, but they shouldn't be the end all be all. They should be part of the picture.
Yeah. But midnight, I need to go sleep. I have a little girl that wakes up at 5.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for putting in the time and staying to do this. That's wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And thank
Appreciate
you for
you coming
visiting
by.
our
It
room.
was great to meet you guys.
Hopefully see you next year. I heard MoFi Distribution is getting the same room next year.
We've been taking this room for several years. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So
we asked to get it. That's why I know.
Yeah, I expect that I will be there again next year.
See you there then, and
we'll see you then.
Let's have a glass of something good.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Absolutely. Better after parties. We'll bring all kinds of great music. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being
gather
here.
up this whole crew and have a dinner.
Yeah, good idea.
Thank you. You guys get some rest. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for having us. And enjoy the rest of it. Goodbye.
I found, let me see.
Det tog tid.
Oops. Where did I removed too many. I found this.
Murderer.
This is something it's a silent party. It's all headphone.
Yeah, I actually looked into this. You can buy a box of, I think it was 100 headphones that would all connect wirelessly to a single hub, and it was only like $2,100. So you could imagine the quality of sub $20 wireless receiving battery powered headphones. It has to be just absolutely terrible. I would love to review them, but you can't buy like one. You have to buy 500.
So look how cool that is.
Like, yeah, it is. And it's like, it's in a public park where it's making no sound other than the scuffing of shoes and people breathing heavy and maybe a waft of BO downwind. But I mean, like, it's possible.
I've been to a prom for neurodivergent kids, and this was what they were doing. And like, I can understand how they can be, those headphones might not be the best quality, but they can be also accessible for this type of situations.
Yes.
So I will always be a big fan of silent parties.
I'm a big fan of anything that shares music.
Yes. Exactly.
These people are sharing a music experience. It's fantastic.
Larry's laughing in the comments. Hey, listen, if you were to put any kind of music you wanted to over that short little clip in this stream, that would be even funnier because you don't know what they're listening to. It could be anything. You could just overdub it with whatever you want and then it makes a clip. So you know what?
Yeah.
As long as people are enjoying music and they're communal like that and having fun, like that's the point. That's
absolutely
brilliant.
I've got to jump or bounce in a couple of minutes. I want to say thank you for tolerating me. Do I'm an acquired taste. Do you have any questions for anything before I end up leaving? Or are we good?
I don't know what to ask. Should I ask questions? What will be a great question to ask you is a good question to ask you.
Well, I mean, Rich was in a room that had ESL panels, quad panels, and they sound like they had a subwoofer. So, I mean, I don't know if that's relevant, but
That's fun, and I can explain that. But no, if you have any question, it doesn't have to be about what I was showing at Axpona. I don't care. But thank you for bringing that up because that's fun. So just to talk about electrostatic panels is like so many things in audio. There are so many opinions that audiophiles turn into fact when it is not. And I take great pleasure in challenging them when they do that. So, one of them is, AMT tweeters are bright. No, how you implement an AMT tweeter into your speaker and what you decide to do with your crossover may make it bright, neutral, or dull. Electrostatic panels, people say, they can't make bass. Really? You should listen to a quad ESL because it can make plenty of bass to the extent that people were asking us where the subwoofers were, and there weren't any. It depends on how you move air. I won't go into a technical detail, but if there's anyone listening who wants to know more, they can. You can reach out to me. Something I mentioned on my website and my socials is you can reach out to me and ask me questions. You can ask me for advice, even about things I don't sell, and I will try to help you. I won't spend 5 hours with you, but I will try to help you. Very, very happy to help anyone with a question about anything that pertains to audio. So yeah, that was the ESL room. It was fun.
Yeah,
I don't think I made it to that room. What floor was that on? Do you remember?
We were in the 3rd floor, room 334.
I thought I did the 3rd floor. It was earlier on. There was talking about how you couldn't do the entire show, and this is the first time in 3 years that I've actually been there as just press. And I usually have a routine of like eat a big breakfast, get to the show early, skip lunch, and just dinner afterwards, so you can have the maximum amount of time. And it did not matter for this show. It did not matter. We started on the 16th floor, went to the 15th floor, and then it was like, we got to go down to the bottom, and you couldn't get on an elevator because it was going to be a half-hour wait. So you ended up walking down 300 steps, and then by the time you find someone else, it's noon. You've only covered 2 floors, and you don't even know where to begin again. And then if you want to cover the marketplace, that is an additional at least an hour just to mosey through there. I really liked I forget the brand who had the black trailer using the full
30 year
Atmos 30 year. Thank you.
30 year something. Yeah,
that was them. They were the secret gem of the show. I loved being in there because that felt like the other side of the line. Like there's the audiophile side of the line where it's like I bought a record, I bought a CD, I want to listen to it. 30 year is somehow like they're the ones that are doing the mixing, the mastering before the CD is pressed, before the Blu-ray is encoded. So it's nice to see that aspect of it on in a 2-channel show, because I think we ignore the creation of music side of it a little bit too much.
Good point.
It's like we can't control how Billy Idol did his mixing and mastering. We only can deal with it once we get the vinyls or the CDs. So having that end of it, before it's finalized, before it's printed, before it's pressed, like just to see how that's done could be such a big learning experience for 2-channel people who just assume it's just, well, here music is done, your music is here. No, there's so many things that I learned about in that trailer about how they are assessing before they hit print. So I think more 2-channel people should be looking into almost high-end studio monitors and the studio situations if they really wanted to get the true art. It wouldn't even be the artist's intention, I don't think, because I feel like it would be the true music engineer's interests, and then someone says, okay, do it. So it's I don't think we have enough of that at these shows. I feel like there's a lot of companies I would love to see. I believe Genelec has shown up at least in Munich, but they don't do small shows like this. But Genelec is a company that is known specifically to be used in high-end studios, not high-end listening spaces. So to get the juxtaposition between those two experiences, because they should on paper be very similar, but in reality, when you listen on a Genelec, it's like, this is so, I don't want to say bland, that would be an absolute insult, but it's like there's nothing here that tells me anything about your speaker. It's all just what's in the music. And I think as a person who does this for a living, that's not necessarily what I want and at my end of my day. I want a little bit of color. I want a little bit of more bass than there should be. I want the soundstage to be wider than maybe it was recorded originally.
Mhm.
So it's good to have like the reference point systems there, like Third Ear had in that trailer.
Yeah, the Key Audio was also there. These are also studio monitors. The stack on the right is, I don't know how the price is, but that's essentially it's the bookshelf model that's got cardioid kind of patterns, DSP controlled. They're all electronically controlled on the back end. So yeah, they're more like studio monitors, but to that point, these are the reference tools that are used in studios before it gets mastered down to vinyl, to DSD, to Apple Music, to, you know, all these other platforms. So this is truly where it kind of starts as in that art form, and then it goes out to every other source type. Yeah.
A couple of things to note that both of you said, which were quite interesting. So, you know, Z, you were talking about the mastering engineer intention, and that's a really important one that a lot of people don't get. I typically don't talk about the mastering engineer's intention. I try to keep it vaguer and more global, but when I talk to people is I'll just say things are recorded different ways for different purposes. And so depending on who you are, what your band is, your mastering engineer might master your music to sound good on crappy car stereos and crappy Bluetooth speakers, because that's where your target audience is going to be listening. And that means if I put it on a high-end sound system, it might not sound good, probably won't. That's okay, because we understood the intention of the mastering engineer. But that's why I love what you said, Z, is because that's what people need to know.
Yes.
And then, you know, so Joe, you're talking about this speaker that's a studio monitor. That's a problem statement for audiophiles because they generalize and factualize everything. Oh, this is a studio monitor, therefore this is the greatest speaker on the planet. No, it's a studio monitor that this studio chose.
Yeah.
I can rattle off 15 other brands for you that are also studio monitors. Once again, personal taste, personal opinion. There's no right and wrong here. But the back end side that you were talking about, Z, it's something that most music lovers, like, they never even think of it. So, you know, so we were talking the other day because someone was talking to me about some MoFi recordings, and I said, I'll give you a great example, and I hope no one bites my head off. Van Halen is a great band. I love Van Halen. They also happen to have some of the world's shittiest recordings. Sorry.
AC/DC also, if you ever like try to really listen to AC/DC.
Playing Thunderstruck driving home. And I was thinking, like, who the hell mastered this? The bass, it should have been so much bigger and better. And but
you're listening in my favorite spot to listen to AC/DC, which is just on a car stereo with the windows open and doing 100 miles an hour because it's AC/DC.
Yeah.
So you can ignore most of those things because you're just going to keep turning it up.
Yeah. But it's a really interesting thing that I love to mention to people is, you know, if you've got a really high-end sound system, this is what's going to happen. It's going to show you this was an awful recording. This was an acceptable recording. This is a really good recording. That's life. What people don't realize is a lot of the time that wasn't a mistake. That was an intention, because somebody mastered this to be played over there and someone else mastered something different to be played over here. And they're two different things. And that's a fun thing about our business.
Yeah.
You know, there's this reseller store that I would visit. They would make me laugh because I would go in and I would play something. I only heard one comment all the time. Oh, gee, I was hoping there'd be more bass. And I had to say, you know, different recordings have different bass levels. You know, if you go to the club and you expect every song on the planet to sound like that, you don't understand that there are varying styles of music and of recording. And I literally did a training for them about bass response. It's same system. We're not changing that. I'm playing recordings for you. Here's this type of bass. Here's this type of bass. Here's that type of bass. They're not supposed to all sound the same. Now, if you want them to, again, this is all personal, right? That's fine. That's why some systems have bass and treble controls. That's why some people have equalizers, because they do that stuff. That's not audiophile. We can tell you why that's not audiophile. But at the end of the day, if that's what makes you happy, well, then do that. You know, that's what interesting business we're in.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that it's almost, and I would say the majority of it is subjective. There is a science to it, but that's not the part you hear. That's not the part you experience. You can know about it, but that's not the part that we get in our brain.
I also wouldn't count out people using EQ, or like, would you say it's not audiophile to do room correction as well?
100%.
It's not, because I'm a pretty staunch supporter of.
The worst thing you can. Sorry, go ahead. I'll comment after.
I'm a staunch supporter of, and I think that's one of the things that, because look, no one, if you don't want to qualify people to be audiophiles unless they build a custom room 100% of the time to eliminate problems or just suffer with it, I would never make people suffer with a problem and be like, well, you're not an audiophile if you try to fix this using a digital correction. It's like that's unfair to a large portion of people who just have speakers in a room.
They are not an audiophile, but I am saying that is not the audiophile way to go about it. Now, in home theater, I'm a huge supporter of digital room correction. Multiple speakers doing multiple things, creating multiple problems. Room correction, a go-go. I do it. I happen to love Dirac Live. There are a whole bunch of others out there. I spent a lot of time at Skywalker Ranch at Lucasfilm with their engineers. And that's super cool. And I believe in doing room correction. Now you come into 2-channel, and I'll explain it very quickly, and then I'll leave and you guys can talk behind my back to your heart's extent. Because that's what we do.
To people's faces.
That's what we do as audiophiles, right? No. I mean, we've exchanged, I think, some comments online, and I'm good with everybody. I'm just here for fun. The reason that I don't like room correction in 2-channel is very, very simple. Like it or not, for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. If you taketh away over here, you might gain over there. If you gain over here, you might taketh away over there, or you might take away the rattle and the bass bloom and think, I just corrected all my problems. You also have now erased all the harmonics and the reverb that naturally were there. You're no longer hearing the room that this was recorded in. I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm saying that happens, well, a lot of the time. And that's why I don't like digital room correction. I would prefer, and it doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar audiophile room that was constructed for it. You can go in and you can do room treatment, and you can either do it with actual room treatments or with just stuff. A plant is a fantastic diffuser. An area rug is a fantastic absorber. If you put up a canvas painting with no glass in front of it, that's a mild absorber. If you put up something, some physical art, that might be a diffuser. So you can, via decoration alone or by changing furniture, softer surface material versus hard leather, you can change the acoustics of your room. And I will plead with people before you go to electronic correction, please try physical. Please try putting things in, taking things away, repositioning, because that will not add a filter. In a room correction system, when you dial out that a little annoying frequency over there, well, that's a filter. And chances are it didn't just dial out the problem. It took some good stuff with it. It's not an end all be all. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you have to. And I'll end on this. I said personal taste is all that matters. So if you want to get an EQ and you want to do the smiley face curve and it makes you happy, go for it. But if you're going to ask my opinion as a professional, how do I get a more neutral system? How do I get closer to the actual artist? That's not what you do. You do something else. It takes a lot more time and a lot more effort. I think the payoff is there. And there are no absolutes. I can't say we do that all the time. There are times where you have no choice. I'm just saying a lot of people think room correction is a magic button.
Yeah, it's definitely an easy button. We know how many people like it easy. So yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would always advise to, if you have a stark room, obviously physical first. And then after that, if you have, like I'm in a room currently with a vaulted ceiling that is to the right of this, above that Forte 4 is a 12-foot ceiling, and to the left of it is a 9-foot ceiling. So it's just a completely trapezoidal space. And before I corrected this room, because I have a what is that, the IK Multimedia Arc Studio, which is just a very inexpensive $300 XLR in, XLR out, and you hook it up to a PC, you do the measurements, you set it in there, you set the curtains to where you want the frequency response to end, and then you would just on and off. And before I had that, I enjoyed these Forte 4 speakers in this room. After I did the 21 point, I did the very personalized one spot fine focus correction. After I did it, I don't understand how I liked the Forte 4s before that in this space. Because they are, there's a 12-inch driver in the front of this, and there's a 15-inch passive radiator in the back, but they never actually did any real low end. And that's just the design of the crossover. The crossovers was designed to probably ignore anything under 30 because it's more of an old school sound. But once I adjusted it, once I dragged that curtain down, and I'm like, try to do 20 hertz. These speakers all of a sudden now can do 20 hertz. And I no longer have that desire, like, oh man, I really should add a sub if I'm enjoying media in here. I drag that curtain down, and it's like, we're just gonna add 5 dB, in this very specific measurement right here. And it blew my mind at how much more capable this was than just relying on the actual built-in crossover. I think the best speakers you can buy nowadays basically have a DSP built into them. They're using self-powered. They have 3 or 4 amplifiers in each one, and each one has been tuned at the studio to perfectly accompany and time align and do everything. I feel like those speakers are, usually they're the future. Usually those are the ones you see in the big rooms, like in Munich and what we used to have. And while there is still obviously, separate speakers, you buy amp, you buy the speakers, you rely on the analog crossover components. A digital crossover will, if it exists, and therefore it is messing with the signal digitally at some point, it has so much more control over what every component is doing that it supersedes any of the losses just from being digital at all. Especially now in 2026, so we can work at such high frequencies that is, well beyond the hearing of any living being, never mind humans. I think that kind of automatically cancels out like the hatred of room correction, because if the speakers themselves are being corrected from the manufacturer, if you go out and get the Focals, I forget the model, the new Focals,
Diva or Meza,
the Diva, those are miracles of science. With the way they walked me through the entire corrections process, where it's like, just listen to this and this or that. It was just a multiple choice questionnaire for 5 minutes, and they could turn it on and off, and it was like, oh yeah, everything that was just slightly misbalanced or anything was fixed. And that was in these rooms that they had already treated. So it is a give and take. I think if you're going pure, insane, vinyl turntable to a analog preamp to go to straight power amps, go to straight to a speaker, if you're living in that purely analog world, then obviously room correction bad. But if you're already getting a speaker that has 5 Class D amplifiers inside of them, all preloaded from the factory with DSPs to correct them and do time alignments. And I think at that point it's like, well, you might as well just tweak it a little bit more for the space, because you're already there. You're already trying to get technology to straighten the signal out as hard as possible before it reaches your ears. And the room is arguably the biggest, most important, no, maybe not the biggest, most important, but certainly a large portion of how well you're going to be able to listen to that content coming through there.
No,
is
I would
going to be
agree.
how
I
the
think
room
the
is
room
adjusted.
is the most important. And I like that I heard you say start with physical before you go electronic.
Mhm.
I'm diametrically opposed to everything you said after that. And that's okay. And that's the beauty of this hobby. I can like and respect you and not agree with you.
That's fine.
Because
Right.
I think it is fine, because you think you're right and I think I'm right. And I'm cool with that. In fact, I like talking to people like you. That's fun to me. We're both after the same thing. We just do it a different way. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
I think that's the best way to wrap that up, is there are options for people who are looking for them. If you want to do the digital and spend the money in the speaker to do corrections for the room, cool. You could have a set of speakers that doesn't have it, and then you could spend the money on treatments and move everything around the space so that that's all dialed in a more analog way.
Just
Both
be
people are
happy.
going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
just
it's
two
something-
ways to the same.
At the end of the day, if you are happy with your system and listening to music, then I am happy.
Yeah.
That's, to me,
That is my bit of advice that I give, and it makes me a terrible YouTuber, is once you're happy with what you're listening to, stop watching my videos. Because I have had so many people who are just, they're on year 3 and they're like, he likes this thing again, I can't afford this. I'm like, were you never happy? You should stop. I'm not going to, I'm going to love a thing like it's the first time I've seen it every time I see a new thing that I like. And I feel like people feel responsible to keep watching. Like if you're happy in a hobby, if you're a car guy and you find your perfect car and you buy it and you take pictures of it and you post it on the internet, you can change your hobby now. You've got the car hobby on lock. You're done. You got your 1968 Corvette or whatever it is. Now try something else. Maybe go into the audiophile hobby. Speakers, headphones for a few years. But you know what? I'm really happy with this. Drop it. Do something else. It's when the hobby burnout is a problem. I think that we didn't.
But that's why
nobody
it
talked
depends
about.
on whether you let it get to burnout or whether you're doing it as passion. Like, your stuff is cool and it's fun. I have no problem with someone continuing to watch you as long as they're also listening to the system they have. What I don't want is someone who's not listening to their system anymore because they think they still have to search. And you hit it right on the head. I'll take cars. Okay. I'm a car guy. I go to car shows. I go to meets. I have a 2008 Miata. If you want to look at the list of car dreams, I could show you the
Car dreams and fantasies. Oh yeah.
So
models.
There's the Porsche Boxster design prototype. They never built it. There's an AC Cobra, and then the bottom one's a GT40. Those are not in my future. Those are expensive cars. I'm not getting them. I'm not searching for them. I love my Miata. I just appreciate those. So, when I was in Vegas, I went to Shelby American and I stood in front of a GT40 that I will never own. It's not stopping me from loving my Miata. And I think we're both saying exactly the same thing, is listen to that system. But they can keep watching you if it's for educational purposes.
Never give up on your dreams.
Yeah, if it's to expand their horizons,
it feels like, I deal with I go through every comment on every video. So and it feels like people who get into I don't know if it's a now thing, like something happened since the dawn of the internet, where it feels like people who are in a hobby only have one hobby. And I feel like it causes more problems in the hobby than if it was just a general show up. Oh, this is interesting. But I have other hobbies.
Yeah.
People who are into photography
get obsessed.
Obsessed with one thing. They need to. That's why people end up like, I know why I have like 75 headphones in this house, but why do you have 75 headphones in your house? You're not a reviewer. They're not sending you review units. Like that means you are working every penny you are making is going into this hobby. And I feel like that is an unhealthy obsession.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to talk people out of being into audio, but there is a line. Like, I have to be here. It pays my bills. You can just find the things that make you happy and then do anything else. Or you're going to just end up as the Maxell guy, just with your hair blowing back when you put the cassette in.
Yeah.
Just be happy and listen to music. And if you're a car guy, be happy and drive your car. It's okay to dream. It's okay to look at other stuff. But to your point, the Holy Grail, that's what I was looking for. If these audio hobbyists are waking up every day chasing that Holy Grail, they're missing the point. The point to enjoy the music.
There's so many companies that exist at these shows that I feel like are just there to cater to the runaway train audiophiles who can't stop. They can't stop buying the next thing. And it's like these products, to anyone who is, starting out younger, doesn't know about like the $200,000 turntable, is going to look at some of these things and go, why? And it's because the people who are buying them and who are desiring them have just that's all they focused on. I feel like the snake oil problem, when people point at something, and I have to, it's out there. It's not like everything obviously does something to something. There are some things that are blatantly like, you probably should feel bad you're marketing this product, but there is enough good stuff that actually still makes a difference, that actually still matters out there, that we can almost ignore the things that are just like, what is this, crystal bags of sand from Egypt? Nope, don't need that. The Egyptian sand, don't pour it, don't put it. Oh, you put it in the amplifier. He put it in the amplifier. So there are lines, and it is harder and harder to I feel like it's going to get worse because people are not diversifying their hobbies. Like, if you're in, and that's another way you could even split it up with headphones and speakers, because I think those hobbies generally are different enough. While they share obviously similarities if they're all to listen to music or media in that case, I think they're generally different enough that it would even be better to have the hobby be, I'm a speaker guy and a headphone guy, because you wouldn't runaway train into one or the other. You would still have to balance that. And then, throw in cooking, put anything else, any other hobby in your life besides audio is a healthy way to live. I try to do cooking, a little bit of cars. I love my anime and my movies and my TV shows. So I try to, the hardest part is for me to disconnect. I want to watch a movie. Oh, should I watch the movie on that new speaker with that new, it's like, oh God, I need to separate, because I don't want to combine those two hobbies. I want them to be as separate as possible, which is why my home theater, once I built it downstairs, I very rarely change any parts of it. It is just 5 years old, and I don't want to be the chasing, oh, I'll try this different speaker, or try, I do need a new projector, but that's beyond the point. But I want to just sort of have, like, my movies, I watch them, it's the same thing. I'm not here to assess the sound of it. I'm here to enjoy the movie. And that separates me for 2 hours from because every time I listen to music, even if it's a set of speakers I've had for 5 years, I'm assessing the speakers or the headphone or the IM or the player or any number of things. And I'm like, God, I miss just being able to listen to music, which is why, like you were saying, AC/DC in the car, perfect place to listen to music. I enjoy music possibly the most in a loud, rattly 2006 Tacoma going 85 down the highway, and I could barely make out what they're singing about, but I'm enjoying the music.
That's what it's all about, man. Just enjoy the music, I think, is important. It's interesting you're talking about evaluating, and I'm not a reviewer, so I have a feeling you do that a lot more than I do. I'm able to sit down in front of my system or whatever system and make a conscious decision for a direction I'm evaluating or I'm enjoying. And I can sit down and do that. But I think if I were a reviewer, I might not be able to, or maybe it would be a lot harder.
It's a little bit hard. I mean, My girlfriend refuses to let me hear her system in her house because she knows if I hear it, I'll try to touch something. So it's like,
Yeah.
because I'm going to be like, you know, something's like, she's hands broken. So it is very hard. When I was growing up, my father used to do security system installs. And to this day, I would not go live with him forever. To this day, if I walk into a building, it looks like I'm casing the joint because I'm looking for all the cameras. I'm like, you know what? Why isn't there a
It's
camera
wired
there to
into your
catch this?
DNA.
It's just wired into it. So
Yeah.
as a reviewer, especially if you're doing shows like Axpona, where you have to walk into a room and within 5 seconds, I need to know, does this speaker have the potential that I'll like it, or am I wasting my time in this room? And I did that so many times. And so everyone loved the new oh god. What was the
Describe even part of it. I might know.
the speaker everyone was talking about, the Andrew Jones speaker.
Jones
Oh,
is
the
Seretta,
Seretta.
Troubadour.
Yeah, thank you, the Troubadour. Everyone was hyping that speaker up. They heard it. It's amazing. People I trust, people I know. And if you want to talk about etiquette at these shows, I wait in line because it's Sunday. It was pretty quiet. I didn't have to wait very long, but I waited in line for like 10 minutes to get to that room. I walk in that room and they are spinning vinyl. Nothing wrong with that, but they're spinning like mono bluegrass, like that they found at a dollar store. It was, I actually winced, and I'm like, all right, I have the press pass. I'll wait till they change it, and they changed it to another vinyl of like slightly better bluegrass, and it was just like I walked out of that room.
I'm going to be right back.
And it was one of the worst sounding things I heard of the show, simply because I knew it was the source. And it's like, could you just I would have loved to actually have heard those speakers, but I couldn't wait around anymore. I was in there for like 8 or 9 minutes while they were just spinning.
There is a reason for what they did. It's not intentional. It's who they are. I think it was a mistake. I think your observation is bang on. And I won't tell you why in a public forum, but if you want to chat offline at some point, I will explain it to you.
Well, I can take guesses at it. It's probably very personal preference.
You have 3 different people who own that company. There's Seretta brothers. There's 2 of them. And Andrew Jones. One of the Serettas works in the IT business. The other one runs a record company.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to show those records off. I get it.
He's maybe showing off his records, or just maybe so passionate about the music that he forgot how crappy they sound.
Yeah. I feel like that was it was I have arguments. I speak to people, I speak my mind. I'm like, I don't like the way these shows handle crowds, or handle like how the most rooms are run. If I walk into a room and you're standing in front giving a 2-minute speech about the speaker I'm not listening to, that's wrong.
Agreed.
There should never be a room that isn't playing music at all times.
Agreed. We talked about that actually.
I don't think there should be more than 2 chairs in any room. One right in the perfect listening position and one right behind it.
Well, that's not physically possible because we need a return on the investment. We need more people in the room because of the amount of money we're spending.
No,
I
but
hear you. I understand what you're saying.
None of the chairs that are like it. I think the way I'd love to see a show run is 2 chairs in the room. You could have 13 people in the room. I don't want to have them wait, but there's no point in sitting 3 feet left and 2 feet back from the listening position in a room so small. Just let people walk, let people move, flow. Let's get people through the whole show. People get in there, they park for 5-6 minutes.
Just human nature and management dictate that that's not going to work. I love it. I absolutely love it. It'd be better for all of us. If you're going to actually sit where you should be sitting and hear what I wanted you to hear, that would be fantastic. It's just not going to happen in reality, much as I would like. What can happen, another thing you said that I loved, and I'm going to say this and then bounce so that you guys can talk more. You said something that I really did love is, yeah, we should not be presenting the technology and be blah, 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 blah. We should be playing music. So that's what I do. I play music. I introduce the song. That's about it, just so people know. I play music. If you ask me about the equipment, then I'll talk about it and I'll explain it to you. But I will never, ever talk about any of the gear unless you ask me to. I'm just going to play the music. Yeah, On that note, I have babbled enough. I'm going to bounce. Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. And I hope you were thinking of going till like 8 o'clock tonight. Is that right?
I mean, maybe that was an ambitious goal.
No,
of mine,
I have dinner to cook, so we have about 9 minutes after this.
So, I mean, that's basically what I want to go off. I need to go off and do. Anyway, once again,
absolutely.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you for being here.
Ton of fun. I love these conversations, and it's okay to not agree on everything.
Yeah, we need to set an example of how to do this the right way, and this was my experiment on how to do that.
Yeah, you can have open, honest, and fun conversations. Anyway, thanks once again. I am out of here. I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope to see. Well, Joe, I'll probably see you
Toronto at least, if not before.
Toronto show. I'll probably see you there, and hope to see all of you wherever and whenever.
Bye,
absolutely.
Rich. Been great.
Good evening.
Thanks a lot. Be well.
Yeah.
So now what do we do? What do we do now?
What do we do? What do we do now?
Let's put on a movie. Let's just watch a movie.
Pick a video. Well, let's just watch one of your videos.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
I want to bring back the topic about bringing in a younger crowd and, how we could potentially do that. Because from someone that knows really not much about audio, I have come to enjoy the audio shows and look forward to them a little bit. Yeah, for me, it's a little bit different because I get to see we have created a group of friends. Now we get Airbnbs and we stay all together, and it's kind of fun.
The audio show is almost secondary at this point whenever I go, because it's always like, we're going to Chicago. Oh, yeah, the audio show's happening too. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, we'll handle that.
Although I'm not very happy with the Airbnb this year. I almost died. But that's the story.
Look, we said watch the stairs, and you did not. You got a real good look.
Watch the stairs as I was falling already.
Yeah, well, you should have listened faster.
Yeah, right.
We had it was a weird house. It was just a weird.
Yeah.
But you're right. What you said, Joe, about the bringing the speakers. I almost never don't travel with a speaker of some sort. I fly to Munich 3 years in a row, and I have speakers in my check bag, because even if I'm in a hotel room, I just do not want to listen to a TV speaker. And a headphone is fine, but it was the argument of headphones versus speakers. I could just go to a hotel room and put on I have any number of thousands of dollars in headphones. I just bring them all along, and I can have a little party on my own little thing. But I want speakers. I want to have the freedom of movement. I want to have fixed points in space that have sound. So every time I go to these Airbnbs, first year I brought the Buchart A10 anniversaries.
Those are nice.
The last year, what did I bring last year? Oh, hold on. I'm trying to remember the house we had. The big house. Oh, what did I bring to the giant house? Was it Buchart's again? I don't remember what I brought last year, but I'm sure I brought something. And this year it was like I just brought the iLoud iLoud Micro Pros. So those are basically just room correctable studio monitors, which I did not bother room correcting. And I brought the iLoud subwoofer. So you're looking at $500 and $600. It was $1,100 in equipment plus wires, which is not like a normal, like, oh, we're going to go stay at an Airbnb. Let me bring my Bluetooth speaker.
Right.
No one brings $1,100 in room correcting studio monitor gear, but
they should.
Well, now the only Bluetooth speakers I want. Did you hear the Morels?
I've heard them at other shows. I think when they first announced them, I heard them maybe in Florida or another Axpona a couple of years ago.
They had the stereo setup with them, and it was one of the most impressive things at the show.
Yeah.
Period. And also, it would have helped with Rich's thing, because Morel had the $6,500 speakers, just passive speakers hooked up to their stuff, and then they had the $5,000 active towers next to it, which is, he's all for the pre-speakers and not the active ones. But I like just turning on the active ones, the room shook because you could force that bass driver to do something that a regular crossover cannot force it to do.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing, they were selling those for $199 each at the show. And we got there Saturday morning and they were sold out.
Yeah, they're wild. They're unbelievably good.
Yeah, the wood oak. I don't know if I probably have to get the red, the blue if they send me a set. But the Army military green has always been my thing.
Do they have the grills? They take yeah, there it is.
Yeah, the grills come off.
It's
really genius how they did the buttons, where it's just like a button that has a bright light, and when you put the cover over it, it just comes right through the fabric.
Yeah, so you can still see them even when the grill is on.
And I mean, I don't know what kind of amplification they've got, but that thing was pushing severe volume and low end.
Yeah, I mean,
for
it's
a
morale.
box that small.
Let me see. DSP, dynamic EQ. Yeah, see, so the thing is, I think in that debate there between audiophile and this is eventually just going to take over.
I feel like audiophile, I think he's using the term wrong. Now we can talk behind his back.
More technically, I think I mean,
I think audiophile means I love audio. That's what it means.
Technically by the
honestly,
word.
Listening to a piano that's making sound is audiophile, and listening to someone sing in a London subway is audiophile. And if you like the sound of your shitty Bluetooth speaker, you're still technically you can be an uneducated an inexperienced beginner audiophile, but you could be terrible, having terrible music on a terrible source coming through a terrible speaker. You can love that and still be an audiophile. But then you learn about better, and better specifically for you. Maybe nothing sounds better. Then you're already there. But you have to fall in love with sound somewhere, and it may not be even close to posh. It might be a shitty little Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
It might be, $30 true wireless earbuds you got at Kmart. And then you go, and then your journey begins. It's all about the personal. Try everything, see what sticks to the wall. God, I'm hungry now. Now I'm thinking about throwing pasta at the wall and it's going to stick. See if it's done. Damn.
I would not recommend trying to throw pasta at the wall. You know what I mean?
Not the person. Not the person.
I think I gotta say that something that was mentioned earlier about it needs to be figured out a way to connect headphone people with speakers and speakers with headphone, right? I think of all the shows that I've been to, Axpona has the most exposure of both in a way, because you do check in and headphones are right in, different from Capital Audio in DC, that they got a headphone section, which is not that, it's small, but it's not that small either, but it's in the farthest corner, and it's just a corner.
It's the aftermath. It's the afterthought. It's by the way, there's headphone people, but they're behind the dumpster.
Yeah. So I think Axpona does a good job of trying to have expose a little bit of everything. They started this the second year in a row that they brought the card audio to, and they try to bring people into that. So I think that's pretty interesting to see. I just wish they would fix those elevators.
Yes,
I don't know.
I don't think the venue is capable of, because having only 4 elevators, it should be enough, but it's not. It's because they're all located in one spot. Even Capitol has 4 elevators, but they're on opposite sides of the building. So you always have a chance that it's going to be a different elevator, or so you're not going to be there. It's not going to be crowded. I think it would almost benefit them to move venues at this point. Because it's a fine hotel, but it's in Schaumburg, and no one wants to be in Schaumburg. And just no one wants to be in Schaumburg. And it just a more horizontal space, less vertical.
Yeah, that would.
We don't need 9 floors of audio. We need 5 floors of audio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you could use the steps for all of them, and just be on them longer.
Yeah, venues. I mean, for example, Toronto is trying a new venue next year. The 2026 October, will be a new venue, and it is more vertical, not vertical, horizontal. There are more bigger rooms for people to enjoy, and then the vertical space is not as much. So it's exactly what you're talking about. However, where it's located is not like, it's not in the city, it's really close to the airport, which doesn't give a lot of visitors, like if you're there, or even exhibitors, they have to travel like all the way downtown to enjoy something because there's nothing to really do around the airport. So I think, I mean, I'm not in that level, but I think that some of it is maybe some places are just not willing to host a show like that, and the ideal places are just refusing that kind of show. So it sucks.
I mean,
but
the Munich, and Munich is no longer Munich. Munich is now going to be Vienna.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, at least it was rumored when I was there, that BMW just bought the building that they were using.
Wow.
Because they're going to make it a factory, because it's a modular building, because it's Germany, because of course you could just remove the floors real easy and turn it into a factory space. In like, it's an outskirts of Munich. It actually is it's in the Schaumburg of Munich, if that makes any sense.
Which
like
is
there's
exactly
nothing there. You go there, and if you're not there, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So
it's like the Toronto show, same thing. It's all airport.
That's like, once that building is gone, building was the biggest building that you could host in. So now they had to move all the way to Vienna to try to find a building capable of hosting that monstrosity.
Right.
No American audio show has ever. I did Munich 3 years, and I'm going to do Vienna this year, and I cannot tell you the exponential amount of difference between any audio show in America that I've ever been to versus what Munich puts on. Because it's like, oh, listen, you represent the company, you go to Munich. No, I am the president of the company. Whatever company, no matter how large they are, he's there, she's there, they are there. I met the president of Shenzhen Audio, from China, and it was just, she poured me tea, and I'm like, holy hell, she's not coming to Can Jam New York
right,
to show off, the 75 brands they own, but she's in Munich.
Right.
And so all of these shows with their venues are, I don't know if they had a better venue if they could fill it. I feel like the show has gotten bigger. So I think at some point it's going to just require, how many times I got up in the morning and maybe I was a half hour late to the show. The initial parking lot is full. The backup parking lot is full. They were almost filling up the third parking lot.
Right.
And then after that, you're going to have to go park in like a restaurant diner parking lot. So obviously the attendance for the show is up. Because that wasn't a thing. It was busy last year. I remember just parking to go into the thing, but it wasn't. I've never seen a third overflow lot. So they're going to want to have more people, more vendors. They need to figure out if they're going to move this show. I don't want to see it leave Chicago necessarily.
Right.
But if it's a regional show, there's got to be a place that could host it doing a better job than, because it really is. I'm still nursing my ankle because we had to take 200 and I think I counted 283 steps down to get off the 15th floor.
Yeah.
To go, because my girlfriend was getting off an Uber, and there was no question. It would have taken 20 to 25 minutes to use the elevators. So it's like, let's just walk down the steps for the next 9 minutes straight. And it was faster, but you can't expect, especially if it's an older crowd of audiophiles, them to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Just traverse, because you can't see the show. There's no point. I could never get to the 7th floor. I tried to take the stairs. One set of stairs didn't go there. Elevator is just not even an option. It was such a limiting factor. Like, if I knew I can get from the floor at the ground floor to a floor and room in 6 minutes, I wouldn't have been in so panicked the entire time. Every time I got on an elevator, I'm like, I got to go to the top. I got to go as high as I can and work down, because there's no way I'm going to be able to just, oh, you know what? I need to be on the 3rd floor to meet my friend and then go back to the 5th floor. You're either taking stairs or you're waiting forever for the elevator. And they just need a less vertical way to do this.
I was thinking in my head there while you're speaking about how they could do it. Like, okay, car shows, right? Car shows, obviously very, very horizontal show. You're not going vertical for a car show. It's all spread out. Cars are all driven in, they're parked, they're in location. Now that's not it's not the same thing, because if you're going to do it that way in a largely horizontal space, you need to bring the rooms with you.
Well, have you been to Munich, Joe?
No, I haven't. I haven't been able to afford that trip. I'd love to go and just check out what that's like, but
the way that the previous building at least was laid out is the bottom floors. There was 4 major sections that were, a football field. Let's just call them a football field. So there's 4 football fields, and when you walked in, you either saw nothing was like a folding table. Everything was very, very high production value, like they're setting up booths. But they let you rent rooms with air conditioning units on the top of them, so that they are soundproof and they have built-in noise absorption. And you open that door and it closes behind you, and it goes clunk, and you don't hear a thing. So, and I would say there were probably 60 of those spread out amongst that first floor in the 4 sections. Like Meze Audio is the only one in the headphone section that has one of those. Actually, I think Hi-Fi actually had one of them also, but it was a much smaller one. Meze Audio gets like a double-size booth. So it's like 16 feet wide, 24 feet long. You walk in there. They don't even need to close the door, because just having that much sound absorption around, and there's even windows in it. Like, so it's not like a black room. It's insane what they do for the shows like that in Europe. Because I haven't been to the Warsaw show. Obviously, no one's been to the Vienna show yet. But that Munich show was like, oh, you're showing off a $60,000 pair of speakers. Let us walk into your airtight room so I can hear them.
Yeah, nice space. I'm just thinking, like, I'm looking at from my city, like what's available that's the similar kind of building, and I just don't know that any of those spaces would allow for audio. And I don't know how busy or booked they are, like years ahead of time for annual show. You know what I mean? So
and if it's a hotel, like a standard hotel, when they like remove the furniture from the rooms and put it in another room, do they even offer that? Because I mean, you know what? Another thing I've noticed is a lot of these hotels keep getting updated. Like this one was just brand new updated, and I thought the bathroom door was creepy as hell. But you know what? You want dual metal French doors with no paint, that's fine, whatever. They keep ruining the rooms with unremovable furniture and headboards. Like Capital Audio Fest,
there you go,
has had some of the worst rooms ever. Yeah, that's a nice space. Because
that's the Enercare Center in Toronto. So it's you'd have to
the only way you would have to have the rooms built in that room. That's the only way that works, is rooms in the room.
Build your own room.
But you know, the setup that they had for Munich obviously was all modular. Every room was the same. It wasn't like renting it. I think someone told me it was like $10,000 extra to have the enclosed room. If those were something that were affordable to almost everybody, then it would be a perfect audio show. I would love to see those quiet spaces more in the headphone section as well. We know that Warwick brings their own little booth. I think that's like a $30,000 booth they bring, so that people can listen to their headphones and not be bothered. I solved that issue by bringing closed back headphones to show off, because then you don't need a room to listen to my headphones. But like this sort of space here that you're showing, more exhibition go in. Yeah, we're going inside. I was just a massive space like that, though. I don't think you would have to channel the same energy as like a Munich high end, as a Vienna high end, which now apparently Vienna high end is 40% more expensive than Munich high end, and even that's going to cause some companies to back out. So hopefully it doesn't pull an RMAF and murder itself, because of just because as soon as they went to the Gaylord as the venue, that was the last year of Rocky Mountain, and that was the year that I had to do a GoFundMe to get a room so we could do the Hi-Fi Guys room. It was a $13,500 suite to rent, and that did not include a place for you to sleep at night. So we had to GoFundMe like $12,900 of that, and then sell off all the equipment that companies gave to us just to try to break even. That is an unsustainable thing for most audio companies, to just throw away like $15,000, $20,000 to maybe sell, or maybe just get your name out there. So you're not going to get those new companies, those small companies that can't afford it. So having like a hotel room is fine. I'm Jim Bob. I can pay you $3,000, and Jim Bob's speakers now get shown off in Jim Bob's speaker room. So it is still probably beneficial to do it in a standard rooms layout. I just wish there was a hotel chain that had nothing but like first class suites. Every room is a first class suite. There are 70 of them in this hotel. They're only big rooms with 2 entrances, 1 in, 1 out, and we have the audio show there. I would accept that, and getting rid of even the larger rooms on the first floor, like they had at this Axpona. If every room could have a bit more space, a bit more room to actually show off what they're doing, and just not make us climb 16 flights of stairs.
But keep things like, I guess the big hurdle with having everything more horizontal is like creating those individual spaces for anything to be shown off in isolation, essentially. Because the rooms is great because it simulates where they're going to be used mostly, like smaller systems or whatever. The larger rooms in larger spaces, so that works. But having like your idea of like ideal listening chairs set up, I know Acora spends a lot of money on their rooms to make the room big enough to get people in and out, and then they set up chairs where it's like 3 chairs up front just in the sweet spot, and they go back, and then the rows start.
Yeah, it's
so.
Yeah, when he was like, "Oh, we got to have chairs in there." If everyone designed their room that the people walking in were never sitting, that you're and you never want to have a speaker like. Could you mind, Drake? My cat wants to be on camera so bad.
Yeah,
he's just running around. He's making sure the ghosts aren't here. But if you walked into a room and the proper perfect listening position was roughly 5'2" in that room, people wouldn't need to sit. The only reason you're sitting is because most speakers are low and you have to sit down to be in front of them. I'm not the God King Emperor of audio shows, so I can't decree that everyone needs to put their speakers up higher, so you could just walk into a room, stand there and listen, go, I'm making my assessment, walk out. You could fit twice as many people in a room, number one, because there's no chairs there anymore.
Right.
And you have this free flow of like, I'm in the perfect position. Now I'm standing a little bit further back. And then just any conversations about the speakers, about the room, they're happening out in the hallway. The hallway is the social hub, and that's another problem. These are pretty narrow hallways. It was not as bad as like some parts of Capitol, but trying to move 250 people up and down one hallway in a hotel gets real hard to do. So it isn't even just about the elevators. The entire layout of the building is affecting, like I dread going down a busy hallway in one of these shows because I'm going to get lost. I'm going to have to bump into people. It's just like, I wish it was like the building you showed, like something that was just big and open, like a car show where everybody gets their own room. You would have to, the only way to do this is the venue itself, the whoever's hosting it. Rocky Mountain comes back to life. It would have to be in a giant space, and the rooms would come with it, and it would have to be. It couldn't be $10,000 a room. That would be, no one would buy it. It would have to somehow be baked into it, where they make a deal, and there are 150 of these rooms or 100 rooms, and that's it. There's 100 rooms. You bid on the room, and you get a room, and you're done. There's no rooms that are bigger. There's no rooms that are smaller. They're all perfectly and the same room. That's the only way to be able to do it.
Yeah, if you could actually have a big horizontal space that was open like that, where rooms could be included, constructed, wired, Wi-Fi, everybody's hardwired into the proper hub. Everybody's got like a fucking that's my first curse word, but I'm over 3 hours now, so I think it's okay. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like resolve all those like internet problems, all that kind of connectivity problems in a big space like that. It solves person flow. It solves room acoustic dimension problems. It solves a lot of the tear down. I mean, you could just pull the wall off and wheel everything out on a cart. It doesn't have to go through a hotel door and then through an elevator. And then, so it does resolve a lot of problems, but price, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's feasible. You're never going to get cheaper than like $2,500 or $3,000 it is for just a room, a hotel room. that's there. Hotel removes all the stuff. You know, obviously they're paying the hotel with the money you're paying them, and they're keeping the rest for the organization. But having a setup like where they have to assemble a room, I can't see that being done. And I was told it's not just the reason that Vienna is going to cost so much more is the unions there charge more, because all the labor, all the setup and teardown, that's union work.
Yeah.
So if you tried to do what we're talking about, it would also probably be union work, and you'd have to make your arguments in your case and argue for rates. And if you don't, if it's a new type of show, which is what I think what we're talking about is, has anyone ever been to a like I did CEDIA,
right?
The Consumer Electronics. I don't remember what any of the rest of them is. I think it's Consumer Electronics, some audio, or association. And that was a big one floor show, like a car show. And when Sony shows up, Sony has money, and Sony builds like a palace inside this big empty space.
Right.
But there was a lot of other companies that were either bringing trailers, or they were bringing like makeshift rooms, or they were just not playing music. They just had a table and a carpet.
Static display. Right.
And it's just, here we go. Here's what we sell.
Yeah.
And so that automatically, better layout, a little bit harder to figure out where you're going because you're kind of just wandering around like you're at a carnival.
Yeah.
But only a handful of places had the capital to, make the listening space. So I still think there needs to be a cheap hotel option, but God, I would love to see an audiophile show pull off like a CEDIA level layout, because it would just be so much easier.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Scotty. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, thank you, family, audio family. Zeos there. I heard you talking about the new Vienna show and the challenges that they're going to have to overcome with that huge space. I'm doing wonderful. I just wanted to pop on and say hello. Axpona was phenomenal. I heard the chats there earlier in the session at 4:00 Eastern time.
Good.
With Radiant and with BlackOcean Audio, and it was funny because Radiant was talking about the teardown of the show, and it was Sunday close to 4:00, 3:30, and it was like, oh my goodness, there's so much I haven't done. And he's like, yeah, and you get all these people that walk around and trying to come in a room at the end of the show. I'm like, slightly guilty, but we saw everyone tearing down. Metaxas and Sins actually let us in. They were still hosting. They were still happy to do it, and it was such a great show.
Nice. Glad you enjoyed it. That's true. I mean, time gets away from you because, like we were talking about with the difficulties of the show itself, and it's not necessarily like our opinion of the sound systems. This whole show has been about things that are wrapped around going to a show, the industry itself, bringing people in, how to manage these people. I mean, I saw a number like, what was it, 12,000 or something visitors to the show this year. Like, I don't know what that number was or where I saw.
I think it was like more like 12,250 because I saw last year's was in the 10,000 range. So
It was
amazing
more,
to see.
Definitely more.
I mean, it's good for their goals. It's nice to have a lot of people out. It shows there's interest. But the more people, I mean, the elevators have a capacity. Each room should have a capacity. I mean, if you saw how many people were in a room or stuffed in a location, I think fire marshals are going to be okay with that scene. Like, that's a big problem too. You can't just keep shoving people in to a space. I mean, ask clubs that got shut down, nightclubs, and they had problems in certain places. I mean, there's one off the top of my head that's I could make a joke about, but I'm not going to, about closed doors and venues. It's a problem. You can't just keep shoving people into spaces. You have to figure out how to manage the flow, manage the timing, manage their spacing. And then on top of it, with so much to do, how much of a quality listening did anybody really get? And was that enough for them? That's a question of all of this sort of option. Like, what happens when the shows get big? If they have to move, they have to figure out things like what's in the best interest of the industry to get the best return on investment, right?
I mean, I definitely had a lot of quality listening at Axpona. Now, the one thing that I made sure to do was just to enjoy where I was instead of try to be, thinking about all the rooms I should be in and where I should be moving.
Smart.
And like the Rel and Wilson audio room, I had the sweet spot chair for a solid 5 minutes. But then I was also, very just cognizant, right? Just like, hey, I got this awesome spot for listening, and let's pass it on.
What do you say? What would you think percentage of the show you covered, Scotty?
40%.
Yeah, that's because what Joe, you said about 48%.
48, maybe 50. Yeah.
I would say, yeah. I don't even think I made it to the. Was it on the third floor? I did 5 and 6. Never made it to 7. Did most of 15 and 16. Didn't do like one end of the hallway, like on the main thoroughfares. I probably saw 55, but I was trying. I'm press. I have to cover. I have to see as much as I can. Try to find something worth talking about or worth listening to. So I'm trying to like fast track this, and it's so. Like I was complaining about, you walk into a room, they're not playing music, they're talking. They're talking about they're telling me how good the speaker's about to sound. And I'm like, you just play it. It'll sound great if you just play it. And then it's, you go into the elevator, it's to go upstairs, go downstairs. Oh, I have to go to this room. I have to go to the Andrew Jones room. I had to go to the Andrew Jones room. And then you go there and they're playing, the vinyls we were talking about. So it's like, they're either and they'll never do this. They'll never make the show 4 days. Munich is 4 days. It's 2 industry days and then 2 public days. And you could not tell that there's 2 industry days because it is so crowded, those industry days, because everybody is in the industry. And then the next day, it's like maybe a couple more people show up. But it's nutty.
Yeah,
and
I've seen videos, but I know that being there is completely different.
Yeah, it looks like you're in a movie set because it's just everybody is European level audiophile there. There's no like walker by like, let's see what's happening over here. It's not. You're not going to find that person in Munich. Everyone is there for a reason.
Yeah.
It makes us stronger. Oh God!
Don't do that.
I just did it. Everything happens for a reason. I actually have that in my playlist, and
it's gonna pop up in everybody's algorithm now. What are you doing?
I'm so sorry, everyone.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that song. That's another thing of the music fatigue.
Yes.
Like I know you can't like have the music police come out and be like, sir, you played the song 19 times today, because maybe that song is just awesome. It works great. But I literally heard "Makes Us Stronger" 7 times, not in rooms I was in rooms I was walking by.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it once.
Wow, you got lucky.
Lucky. I don't know how
you've heard it so much it just disappeared into the background.
No, I didn't hear it once. I didn't hear the Big John. I actually haven't.
I did hear Big John. Big John was playing in one of the rooms.
Queen Mary, I only heard twice, and that was like, okay, good. And it was funny
I
because
heard Ratchets at least 3 times, but I usually request Ratchets because it's such a short song anyway.
Yeah,
and I'm so grateful to the world for giving us things that are not Diana Krall.
Oh yeah, constantly trying to get my playlist on like their alternate songs. It's like I have a Spotify playlist that I curated and then I exported to Qobuz for everybody to find. And only one of those songs is not on Qobuz, so that's good. But it starts in the same range, and then it just progressively gets harder and harder and harder, and more like a chainsaw at the end. So it's like an alternate list to play in rooms, just trying to like, for example, Axpona 23. I was there for that show, and I believe I was probably the first one to bring Polyphia to that. Playing God, I think is the name of the song. Now everybody plays that demo song because that's something that I brought out of my playlist and it started moving around. Same thing with there's a soundtrack demo where it starts with a classical Chinese stringed instrument and then it rolls into the drum instrument. It's like very boomy sounding and it starts getting faster paced. It's very short. That one I played in Toronto in like 22. So that ended up into general playlist. And that's what I'm trying to do at every show. Just have a room, risk playing something, and then it might catch on. So we get to push this old stuff out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'll ever get bored of like Hotel California, like that one. That's
Yeah.
fine. I feel like that's just a staple, and it's not a meme. The Big John one becoming a meme is actually great for the world.
Yeah, it is. Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah, no, I can't 100% say it.
I think it's okay as long as I'm not looking or hearing it. I'm just like, good.
Yeah.
Let it.
But I mean, anything that gets the fact that it's a meme outside of the audio community, I think.
Yeah, Make Us Stronger was kind of the same though. We got to admit that got sampled and replayed and brought people in and people talking about it. Which, if you want to talk about marketing,
I would have loved to have heard those Andrew Jones speakers playing "Makes Us Stronger," even if it was that. Even if I had to endure it again, I would have been fine with it because it wouldn't have been what I did here, which was like you can use a $10,000 microphone to record someone flushing a toilet. Doesn't mean it's high-end audio, right? It's really clearly you flushing a toilet, but it doesn't tell me how the speakers work.
Right.
So
right.
I still want good music, but I love the more dynamic stuff, the more electronic stuff that people are playing. There is sometimes a little problem with volume, and weirdly enough, some places are playing it almost too loud, which I never thought I would have to say.
Wow.
But there are still some places playing just way too quiet. Like you're trying to sell me a $70,000 set of speakers, and they're dead.
And it's a whisper. Yeah.
Listen to the quality of the sound; it's so good. It's like just play it, and you should play the best track. Like there should never be a moment where music isn't playing, and it should never be not the best music ever. And if you take a request in the hallway on the tablet, just motorcycles just driving around in the background. Yeah, I like how the music is changing because it was too many years of the Diana Krall, and I was going to make Diana Krall t-shirts.
Right.
Like, no, stop it. But that really isn't a problem anymore. Now it's just, people keep requesting the same, techno song over and over and over.
And there's so much great music. Yeah.
But I've literally gone to the album that Makes Us Stronger is on, and I listened to the rest of the music.
Yeah.
Those would all be fine too.
Yeah.
Any other thing from this track, and it's on the platform. Just any other track.
Yep.
It'll give you similar dynamics. It'll give you similar tonality things.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like audiophiles are now scared to play something that's not like individually like, we can play this. This is okay.
That's you know what, Scotty, did you have something you were gonna mention something there? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I really I wanted to comment that it's a double-edged sword because we don't want to hear the same songs all the time, but as Zeo's just said, when he went into Andrew Jones' room, he wanted to hear this song so that we're able to make this comparison. But on the same time, we want other things, but then you walk into a room, you're like, I've never heard this song before, or I have no reference. So it's hard,
look, I have since the dawn of my channel, basically, I was doing sound demos, and eventually I had to take them off of YouTube because YouTube is, you can't play music on YouTube. Like you get it now, but I started this before that was like a thing where, you can't. Oh, why not? So now they're privatized, and I can play anything I want. And people will complain that I don't play the same music on every sound demo. And while that is obviously, if I played the exact same song on every sound demo, it would be a great way to reference it. Yeah. But I would also lose my mind.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to hear the same song over and over and over and over and over and over because that's the right way to do it. But so we do need these songs that proliferate and you hear them on multiple systems. It's just, I feel like there's so much similar music they could do.
Yep.
Just to give you the same taste.
And it gets boring, right? Like if an amazing YouTuber out there, Ron Brunet, New Record Day, has got 4 or 5 reference tracks. He plays every single video, and it's like, okay, all right, I get it, but no, you got to switch it up.
Yeah, even if my sound demos are less useful, like I already know putting some Neumann microphones in a headphone and adjusting it and trying to match it isn't like gonna give you the sound. It's just gonna give you kind of a reference.
Mhm.
So I know it's not perfect. So I don't need to do, as long as I play a variety, because usually like 10 to 12 tracks. As long as I give you a variety, there's female vocals, there's male vocals, there's a techno track with heavy bass, there's an acoustic track with like hiss in the background. As long as I give you the whole palette of what I think a sound demo playlist should be,
Mhm.
I think you could probably extrapolate what you're getting out of a speaker or a headphone without
Yep.
hearing the exact same track.
Yep.
Back in the day, I used to actually play pink noise, and then I would load the video waveform in and then make a correction to the EQ. And that was just like, do I lose my mind?
Wow, that's a
So,
lot of
yeah,
work. Oh my goodness.
yes, that's why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
No one should do that. That was crazy. But just having, I like to discover, I'd rather discover new music at these shows than hear the same song and actually reference the speaker. Speakers, what's another thing we could talk about for 15 hours, but I actually have to go soon,
No
is
worries.
a lot of times I'll walk into a room, and this is completely different, like right angle. And oh, these speakers sound great. But the person in that room doesn't care about the speakers because they're there to sell you either a cable or a $70,000 DAC or a turntable tone arm. And they just brought their favorite speakers, which is great. It's what you should do. But now I definitely don't have any point of reference. Like, oh my God, I don't know what you're, what? Like just the what. And it's so hard to do anything about that. Because unless you, like, everyone signs a contract, everybody gets the same speaker. If you're showing off a DAC, you get the same amps and the same speakers. This way your DAC can be shown off against other DACs.
Yeah.
So no one will ever do that.
No.
It's like, no. This DAC doesn't work with that speaker. I need a different. It would never work, but it would be the fairest way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
in like a scientific method way, then for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. God forbid we bring the scientific method into the audiophile space. We'll be lynched by the people in the audiophile
People
space.
will be chanting and running up and down the hallways and stairs with signs and pickets.
Look, I didn't realize, I had an idea, but it never really occurred to me. Like, I had the headphone, the one that I tuned, the Eris, which is very bassy. That was the whole reason. I wanted the bassiest headphone you could buy. And when I put it out there, when I sold it, and I got the feedback from it, people are either exactly like me and love it, and this is like it's so engaging, and there's people who just can't listen to it. And that hard line of like probably 70-30 is the most indicator that no matter how good you think your sound is at any of these shows, there's going to be 30% of people who just hate it. Even if you like it, they're going to hate it. So I've come to just accept that no matter where we are in this industry, having a good sound doesn't mean you're not going to get near 100%. You're not even going to get near 90%. You're going to get maybe 60 to 70% of people agree that what they're hearing is good or better than good. But you can't please them all. And as long as we vary up the tracks of music playing, vary up the systems. I like when people put them horizontal in the room instead of like straight in or like perpendicular to the entrance. It gives a little wider staging. But then you have like even worse chairs, because then you have one chair maybe. So we're back to layout problems again. But
yeah, it's a complex thing that we all have to. I think overall, the best thing to speak to is to set everybody's expectations going into a show, and the dialogue being that, like, no, none of it is perfect, none of it is scientific, all of it is going to be subjective, and all of it is going to have variables that are going to change even when you bring it home. So none of it is going to be accurate when you're listening to, even though if you enjoy it, prefer it one room to another room, there's just so many other variables that get in the way of saying this versus this is 100% comparison. It's not. And that's setting everybody's expectation in the business hobby, getting into it, or even experienced people. You said, like, that's not a fair comparison at all. It's a show for show's sake, but it's not like you're in a laboratory doing blind testing. Never mind bringing in double blind testing people for sound quality. That's a whole other thing too. I'd love to have one of those at a show.
But it is cool when you've been to Axpona since 23, so you've been to 4 of them. I've been to 3 of them, and it's very interesting to note maybe a specific room with a brand had a poor setup the first year and then consistently was good, last year and this year. I
Mhm.
saw that. And then I saw another brand where it wasn't good for the last 2 years. And it was like remarkably, wow, how did they do this year?
Mhm.
Just sort of paying attention to how they're setting it up and, did they get the magic sauce right is, it's something to pay attention to.
I
Yeah.
mean, no, I own a pair of the Mon Platimons, the
Mhm.
$6,000 MTMs. I love them. They're my they're my reference speaker. And every time I go to a show, since that first time when I heard them in since I heard not Rocky Mountain, I heard them in Capitol, the room has sucked. They don't sound anything like what I can get them to sound like. I can get them to sound they disappear, they vanish, they're so neutral, and then the bass just is remarkable for 2 5.25s.
Mhm.
And every time I go to a room that where Mon is presenting, and I don't know if it's the room, I don't know if it's Mon wanting to get something different out of it, that it doesn't match like what I think I can get out of it. But it's like, so now you have a speaker that I intimately know. And I listen to it and it's like, well, it sounds like ass. What are you doing? Why are
Yeah.
you doing this? Please. And we could blame rooms, but if I give consistent advice at these shows, it's note the rooms that sell blatant snake oil.
Mm.
I'm not going to name names. We could name all the names, name names. But if you find a room that the product is probably just a $10,000 brick with some stuff coming out of it, the odds of that room being one of the best sounding rooms of the show is high, because they have to do that. They have to make sure that I went to a room, and I won't say the thing they were selling, but they had the highest end Denafrips Terminator DAC.
Right.
They had, I forget which amplifiers they were using, but they had it not set up straight in the room. They had it slightly offset in the corner to fix the acoustics. They had Joseph audio speakers. Automatic win. You now have one of the best DACs, even in the affordable range. You've got Joseph audio speakers. The amplifiers are quality. They cover the room in plants. They put their magic box of bullshit on the floor and went, listen to how good this sounds. And I'm sure I could have just taken that magic box and thrown it out a window and it would have still sounded as good. But they put the effort into making that room sound.
Mm.
One of the best at Capitol Audio Fest that year. I was sending people that room, despite that room being set up for a magic box on the floor. But I was sending people that room to hear how good it could sound. Because they have it. If you're selling a product that maybe isn't going to remarkably change the sound, you've got to start with the highest baseline possible.
Yep.
And so those are the great rooms.
Yep.
And having people who show up with like the Platimons, have a speaker that I know is so capable, and just they don't have the time. Either that's another thing. I know how my speakers are set up, but it took me days in my basement to figure out where to place them.
Yeah.
And these guys get like what?
1 day.
1 day,
maybe.
If you were hardcore enough, you would honestly get a hotel room at the hotel a week before, tear all the furniture out, and just play for a week and then match it in the next room.
Yeah.
Like that would be the only way to do it. And it's silly that that's the case. I know in Florida, at least the year before last, the people who run the Florida Audio Expo were people who used to present rooms. So they know it's a nightmare. So I think you're allowed to start setting up on Tuesday for that show. And I think you get to tear down on Monday, because it's Tampa. No one's staying at those hotels. It's not like there's a golf international coming up or something. So they just give you the hotel doesn't care. They probably pay a little bit extra to the hotel. But imagine, that's why I think I hear consistently better rooms in Florida, despite that hotel being absolute. It's so Tampa. It's no good. I don't like the leaks. It smells. The rooms are weird. There's so many things wrong with that hotel, but they have 3 whole days to do setup.
Yeah,
3 days to just 1 whole day just to unpack equipment, then a whole other day to set up and move, and then a last day to like fine tune, and then the show starts. Is remarkable.
That's really nice.
However, you are also taking people away from their families for 6 days if they are willing to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So That's another reason why I don't think a 4-day show like Munich does would work. Is people have lives.
Yeah.
A show that happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People are we're taking off work on Wednesday because we got to drive. We got to get in the bus. These people are already moving for days before the show begins.
Yes.
So adding an extra day is now it's like you're creeping into this could be a 7 or 8 day event for these people.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's not a thing that everybody can pull off. I mean, you wouldn't have to. No one's selling you have to show up for 3 days of setup. You can just do the 1 day thing. But if you were offered it, I would find one person willing to come and start the process.
Yeah. That's this unique problem with having like setup. And then again, it's like I was talking about setting expectations for people that are going to rooms and shows and evaluating or being judgy or that kind of thing. Like, yeah, and you know, half of the trolling kind of comments are not about hi-fi at all. It's just about ego. People just want to be heard or listened to, or they want to cause shit in comments. That's what it's about. They're not really talking about audio or hi-fi at all. So that's the nature of social and human and forum. You know, we've had that since forever, dealing with the public in spaces. That's just part of it. But to anybody who's a discerning, interested, hobbyist, sensible, intelligent, setting expectations and getting some of the knowledge about how to go about audio shows, how to go about evaluating in imperfect spaces. Like, what about training people to like ignore the room sound? You know, when you get into a space and go, oh, that's the asymmetrical bullshit on the side because there's a TV, and then there's this is the echo coming from the hallway because the door's open. Like, how to train people to hear that. I mean, some of us might get to it naturally after years and years, but I mean, how many do have that?
Yeah, you can't like give someone a pamphlet where they walk in like, by the way, here's everything you need to know about listening to this in this space where it's not going to make any sense and it really doesn't matter because you can't assess it. Again, you're listening to music you don't know, on a source you don't know, through an amp you don't know, through a speaker you don't know, in a room you don't know. Enjoy. It's it's like, okay, like at least if I go to an Italian restaurant and I eat pasta, I've had pasta before.
Yeah.
But if the music isn't even the same, then you're not even getting the same thing. It's like you have no way to evaluate.
Yeah.
So
that's why we hear all the same kinds of songs. You're like, yeah, I heard it in Florida. I heard it at home. I heard it on this. I heard it in the car. And we just want to hear it again.
Put a nice big fat reference on it.
Yeah. You imagine if it was an audio show and all they could play was one song over and over and over and over again in every room.
Well, no. I did have there was a something I thought of where you could have a universal source. So it'll be like the whole damn hotel is a jukebox, and you put in your requests, and maybe it plays in 300 requests. But that way, you could literally go from room to room, even with doors open, because it would bleed, but it wouldn't be the worst. But when we did the room in RMAF, we had a single source for the speakers we were playing and the headphone room in the other space. So that even if you're listening to headphones, the speakers in the background weren't playing something different. Everything was playing everything.
That's cool.
And that actually happened in Florida. I went to Florida and there was one of the larger suites had these big speakers playing, and I saw there was a side room, and I put my head in there, and it was the exact same song playing at the exact same time. And I could look on the floor, and sure enough, there was a cable, probably a fiber optic cable would be the easiest way to split that. And it means that you could now assess twice as many speakers in the same space, essentially, because they're not truly screwing with each other up as long as they're not, blasting one over the other.
Yeah.
So that's a cool way to go about it. But then it's digital logistics.
Yeah,
which is a great name for a band.
I want to step in real quick because I gotta head out. So, but thank you for having me in the conversation. I love bringing a different perspective from a not audiophile. So,
no, it's very good to get your input, being from that side, and then having a bit of marketing and different kind of perspective on the whole story. Like I said, I think
she's the standard case of the wife that is dragged along. And then all of a sudden now she's dragging him along, and it's like, I want the ones that look like the Dalmatian puppies. That's how we get here. I'm actually going to be heading out too, so when Yuri leaves, I'll leave. So Scotty, nice talking to you. Joe,
yeah, absolutely. Yuri, nice talking to you too.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining on this. We're almost at the 4-hour mark now, so I'm about ready to call this quits in my last 15 minutes. So I do appreciate everybody that's here, and I hope you all have a good evening. Yeah, I'll make my sign off on my own here. So
we'll do
right.
we'll
Thank
do
you
it
very
again
much, guys.
sometime, Joe. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Anything, I'm up for all of it. I have time. Yes, let's do it.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Scotty, for being here as well. I do appreciate everybody that's here. You guys take care. Thank you for being here. I'll do my sign out on my own. So just
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Wow. It's not every day that I get to have so many mindful and insightful people on a live stream podcast, especially short notice after a big show like that. Like, that's incredible. So my extreme gratitude to those who joined us today. The Radiant Acoustics team, Frederick, which is actually amazing. Rich Zidel, Nick from BlackOcean Audio. Thank you to Scotty, Zeos, Yari. I appreciate everybody who joined to come and comment. Luca for stopping in very short notice as well. So all those who couldn't make it, as you know, like, I understand that this is a very tight timeline. I wanted to bring on guests from Dutch and Dutch. We had such a great demo there, but I mean, it's conflicting timeline wise. So I might do a follow-up show at some point. I'm open to doing more interviews like this with anybody who wants to do. I love doing lives. This is my kind of thing because, like we talked about in the session, media content and trying to reach an audience is very difficult, and editing and having a marketing person or someone who does editing costs a lot. When you got to do it on your own, you have to figure out a way to do it. This is my way to do it, is just to hit it live, go on for as long as I need to do it, bring on people who are comfortable with being here. And I'm hoping that this kind of format is satisfactory for a community that's looking for information, or at least to be part of it. Because with the comment section open, if you're on a tablet or a phone or a computer, then you can comment back. If you're watching on a TV and you're busy and we're just in the background, that's great too, because any bit of participation helps. But at least with this, it's not a talking head set of videos where you can't ask questions, you can't interact. This is why I like to have the community as part of it, so I can go over and just say, you know, True Voice of Reason, thank you for being here. It's quite the marathon indeed. I do appreciate it. Thank you to Scotty, Audio Acoustic Engineering, for being here and joining in, being part of things, hanging out at the show, being supportive, giving their perspective. I mean, truly, it's, you know, there's a lot of support there that goes behind the scenes. Not everybody knows, and I definitely appreciate that. So thank you to True Voice of Reason as well. Yeah, I'm going to sign off. I almost hit my 8 o'clock mark, but I'm not shy of quitting 10 minutes early. It's pretty late on a Saturday. I'm not really sure if everybody stuck around from the beginning. I saw the numbers pretty much stay consistent. So thank you for those who stuck around for the entire show. There's only a few of you, but I really appreciate that. I will bring you information about new systems. I've got speakers here that I got to talk about, new evaluations. I had Montreal and surgery and Axpona all back to back. So now I need to figure out the next few steps. I appreciate everybody who supports, shows love, comments, is nice about things, ask the right questions, you know, all of those things. So I'll see everybody on the flip side. Let me see. Like, see how easy it was when you are all passionate about the subject. Yeah, exactly. You know, we all came at it from a slightly different perspective, which is what we need, because like I was saying in the last point, is to set some expectations around audio in general, because when the expectations or the subject of the hobby runs away from you and you start to get into gray areas where the questions or the premises of an argument are not valid, they're not credible, and they don't make any sense, then you get what I call the noise of the community, where what we're talking about is no longer part of the hobby. It's just something that happens in comment sections. And that's really not helpful for anybody. It's not helpful for brands. It's not helpful for designing. It's not helpful for marketing, because they're studying things that are going on. They're studying data points and attention in media and their resources, and they could be led in the wrong direction. We don't want to have their feedback loop messed up by bad conversation. We need more quality conversation that is valid and does represent what we're about. Now, if we can get that, that will be a better achievement than some kind of new woofer tweeter. Believe me, clarity in our community is almost better than clarity in your audio system. Quote me. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to move my ass a little bit because I've been sitting on this chair. Thank you to everybody who was here and commented and joined me today. So that's a fantastic result. I'm happy with that. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll be back, I don't know, sometime next week. Subscribe and find out. Bye, everyone.